the topic. So you know what we're talking about today, and we have a special guest. So let me show you all who we're going to be talking to today. We're going to be talking to Princella. Hey, Princella. All right, I'm going to introduce you in just a moment. Let me do some housekeeping. All right, so welcome in, everybody. Welcome. I am your host, Tanya TKO. I am a self-love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we typically use viral video topics so that we can use some in-the-moment self-love lessons that we learn from looking at what is happening in these topics and us being able to transfer that into what we need to do for our own lives. So today we're talking about lesbianism. This is what we're getting into, lesbianism. Is that the answer? Is that the answer for Black women? You know, they have the Save Yourself Black Men movement, and we have a lot of content creators who are coming up with ways to empower women and figuring out ways that women can be able to live their best lives. So without further ado, let me bring forward the Queen Maker. So welcome in, everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so Princella. Oh my goodness, you're gracing our broadcast today. So first of all, for the people who don't know you, introduce yourself so that they can find out who you are, what you're about, all of that.
Okay, well, my name is Princella, and many refer to me as the Queen Maker, and others refer to me as Pastor P. I am a social reformer and for women's empowerment. So I have a background in cell and molecular biology. I was commissioned as an officer in the Army. I have a PMP certification, project management, and I was top sales in the car industry, cell phone industry, and direct marketing industry. And so I have a unique perspective that has allowed me to take all of my information that I've come across in life and package that in a way where it gives women clarity, not only about themselves, but also about men, so that they can make better decisions in their life. And as a result of that, I am known as the new lesbian cult leader, which
Oh
is
my
how we
Lord.
end up here today on this topic.
You know what? Listen, why? This is how you coming
Yeah,
out the box? You known as the lesbian cult
yeah,
maker?
yeah. I'm the lesbian maker. I'm the stud maker. I'm the single woman maker. You name it, I'm all this. So yeah, let's go ahead and address the lesbian cult leader.
Well, all right. So you ready to just jump into it? You done with the intros? You jumping right in, huh? I
Let's
guess we.
let's let's go ahead and meet it head on.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, you know what? Okay. Listen. All right. Okay. Let's meet it head on then. Talk. Oops. I'm talk. What is? Is it a rumor or is it the truth, Ruth?
Well, what is what a rumor? Am I a lesbian cult leader or am I myself a lesbian? Okay, so let's break it down. First and foremost, I absolutely do date women, right? I do date women, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And I guess people have an issue because the messenger of the truth, which is rooted in scientific fact, which is rooted in philosophical fact, psychological fact, and sociological fact, the leader of this truth that is being spoken happens to be lesbian, right? Now, I did not, I
Wait,
did not
hold on.
start out this way.
Hold on. So you are a lesbian?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way y'all perceive me,
No.
right? Since
You
I date
you
women.
speaking your truth now. Are you a
No,
lesbian?
No, I'm saying I date women. So is that the way you perceive a woman who dates women? Is that the name y'all call it? Cool. I'll roll with that.
Listen.
I'll roll with that. So if that's the label that you give it, then yeah, I guess I am, according to y'all.
No,
Right?
no, 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 no.
So
According to you, because you speaking the truth. According to you.
no, 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 no. Because I don't live by labels. Okay. See,
Oh, okay.
I'm a, I'm a sapiosexual and I'm a demisexual, which puts me on the asexual spectrum. Right. So my sexuality is not rooted in biology. It's rooted in psychology. So I'm only attracted to people sexually based on intelligence and based on emotional connection. So once I came to the conclusion that men were not capable of these things, I decided to direct my energy towards women whom I know are capable of those things. Now, if you decide that that's lesbianism, then I'll go with it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, well, so to me, a lesbian is a woman who exclusively dates women. I think bisexual is what covers women who date both. I'm not sure what a demisexual is. Is that bisexual? Demisexual? What?
No, no. Demisexual is on the asexual spectrum. So I don't have a sexual attraction to either men or women, neither one of them. It's all mental. So demisexual are individuals who only have a sexual attraction or desire once they have an emotional or strong emotional connection with someone. So I have to be strongly emotionally connected to someone. I could be strongly emotionally connected to a man, or I could be strongly emotionally connected to a woman, right? So, and I'm a sapiosexual. I know you heard of
Right.
sapiosexual,
Yes,
correct?
because I'm a
Okay,
sapio. I'm
so
I'm
there,
I'm a sapio as
right.
well.
Right. So you could be in the presence of a man, right? He could be physically attractive. But
Right.
if he opens his mouth and he's dumb as hell, your sexual desire goes, right? And you
Yeah.
have no sexual. That's me. I'm always in my head. I'm an Aquarius. So I'm always in my head. So I view the majority of males as unintelligent. Okay. So,
Oh.
vroom, my sexual attraction is non existent for them. And because I have decided that men are incapable of deep emotional connections, spiritual and mental connections, since they are not, I have no compatibility with them on the emotional side. So, after my research to understand the difference between men and women biologically and psychologically, I
Mm-hmm.
realized that everything that I wanted spiritually, mentally, and emotionally was never going to come from a man. I've tried, I've been married, I've dated these guys, and it just ain't coming from them. And so once I realized that, I was like, well, just because they can't do it, who the hell says I gotta go without it?
Oh.
I don't have to go without it.
Oh my. Okay. So, okay. Oh my goodness, there's so much. You know what? Listen, there's
Go on,
so
let your head go on, Tanya. Let your head spin for a second.
okay. Listen, listen, listen. I need to go back to the let's go back to the root. Let's go back to the root. All right. Number one,
Okay.
you said that your background was in molecular biology. What does that mean?
Cell and molecular biology. Okay. So there are multiple sciences and there are multiple disciplines when it comes to these sciences. So when we're talking about molecular and cellular biology, it's
Mm-hmm.
solely rooted in molecules, right? When you get into the organic chemistry component and how these molecules operate in the cells, the functions of the cell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the concentration. So the whole point of biology, when we talk about biology, it's about the foundations of life. So biology 101, this is why it's important.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you the five characteristics to determine if an organism is a living organism, right?
Mm.
So with these five characteristics, everything builds around this concept. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I have incorporated the understanding of science. Why? Because science is rooted in analysis. It's rooted in studying the nature and the behavior of the planet and things around you without human manipulation, right? So it's
Okay.
based on observation and fact, right? So I have taken my training in science to incorporate in my analysis of human behavior
Okay.
and the difference between the sexes, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's expound upon that. So you say your background. Do you have a degree in this? Did you work in it? Were you a scientist in a
No,
lab? Okay.
well, okay, so I went to school and I'm only 18 hours away of actually getting a bachelor's in cell and molecular biology. So I only basically have one semester left to finish that. So in that, you are in the lab. You cannot get a degree or even have that many hours without being in the laboratory. So I
Okay.
have separated proteins, right? I've used the centrifuge, I've done the calculations, I've been in the study. So it's not the field that I chose to stay in. However, I have gained the perspective and the actual hands-on things that I needed to do to understand how to analyze things in the
Mm.
scientific world.
Okay.
So I've taken that knowledge that I have acquired and I never lost it. I took it into new fields. So going from cell and molecular biology, I also then transitioned into leadership in the military. So now
Okay.
I have a background of understanding not only how to lead myself and how to lead others, but now I can see what characteristics are required for a person to be a leader. So
Mm.
I have to possess these, and then I have to analyze other people and say, do they have the characteristics, the traits, or the qualities to possess leadership skills within them? Why
Mm.
is that important, Tanya?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's important because the narrative that's being pushed out in male and female relationships is that men are supposed to be the leaders,
Right.
that they're the natural leaders, the providers, and protectors. But when you look out into the world, you see nothing but chaos.
Right.
Well, I see that there's a problem. There is a problem because women, one, do not know men, and
Mm.
two, they don't even know leadership. So
Mm.
women are not being able to make good choices in men because they're being led on total ignorance. They're
Mm.
blind. They don't know what leadership is and they don't know who men are. So
Mm.
because of this, Tanya,
Yeah.
and my life experiences and what I have acquired and what I've gone through learning these lessons through the school of hard knocks and
Mm.
formal education, I am a humanitarian before I'm anything.
Okay.
And when I look online and I see women constantly crying,
Mm.
women being confused, and all of these stories I keep hearing about how men doing these women, I'm looking at these sad posts for years in the marriage club.
Yeah.
I have the answer to why women are experiencing the discordance that they're experiencing in
Mm-hmm.
these relationships. And I can do one or two things. I can
Yeah.
keep this knowledge to
Keep it to
myself and
yourself or
sit
share
back
it.
and
Mm-hmm.
watch people be in pain,
Mm-hmm.
or I can provide them the answer and give them freedom of choice.
Mm.
Give them freedom of choice through informed decision making.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me put a little applause on that. All right. So, follow up question. You said that you've done a lot of research. Tell us about some of this
Yes.
research. Some of us are just meeting you for the first time, others know you, but some may not know your scientific process or the research that you've done.
Okay. So when you're doing research, first and foremost, you have to always go to through credible sources. And when you use statistical analysis, it's
Mm-hmm.
always about getting a sample, a population size, and being able to dig deep into what it is that you're trying to analyze.
Yeah.
And so when you take a sample population, it's just an indicator, all right, of what may be going on over a bigger scale. So the
Mm-hmm.
easiest way to talk about statistics is use a coin, right?
Okay.
Heads, tails. If you flip the coin 10 times, right, it may land on heads like 7 times and tails 3 times, right? But that's only because you flipped it 10 times. But the more you flip it, the closer it will get to its actual depiction of a 50-50 relationship, because you can flip it and it end up on heads 50% of the time, tails
Right.
50% of the time,
Right.
because it's one coin with 2 sides, right? But to get a more accurate depiction of the population, you
Yeah.
have to flip it enough times. So
Mm-hmm.
if you flip it 10 times, it could come 7 out of 10. But if you flip it 1,000 times,
Yeah.
it's gonna look more close to 50-50.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you have to get a big enough sample size, right, to be able to analyze what it is that you're trying to analyze. So when I look at society, I need to make sure that I get credible
Mm-hmm.
research to back up my claims if I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
So the credible sources that I go to is I go to the government's website where all of the research papers are held,
Mm-hmm.
peer-reviewed studies. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And this is the National Library of Medicine. I don't let nothing come out of my mouth that I cannot substantiate through peer-reviewed research, right?
Yeah.
And this is important that this is done because you do not want to add your own junk
Yeah.
into, right,
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying, because the manosphere has a habit of doing that. They
Speak
do
about it.
not substantiate any of their claims through any peer-reviewed research. They're just talking out of emotion. And one of the things in the public is that women are emotional and men are more logical. That narrative has to be destroyed. And
Yeah.
it's so easy for women to destroy it because the truth is on women's side. The
Yeah.
truth is not on men's side. The truth is
Yeah.
on the side of the
Yeah.
female,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to
right?
interrupt you with
So
applause. Go ahead. Let me
no, it's
hear.
cool. It's cool, Tanya. Thank you. But the truth is on the side of the woman. So it's real easy to go and get peer-reviewed research papers that back up the claims to support women. But the scientists know this. Everybody knows this who are running the globe. So there has been a concerted effort to keep women out of the knowledge of science, math, occult wisdom, to keep and sell them fantasies so that men's delusion can continue to be supported. Because when you tell a man the truth, it doesn't matter if you tell him his dick little. It doesn't matter if you tell him that he's broke. You cannot tell the man the truth about anything because he will come undone. Why is that? Why is the male's ego so fragile? There is a scientific reason for it.
Mm. Oh, I lost my screen. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Princella. I lost my screen for some reason. Let me get you back up here. Sorry. Go ahead. What's the
Yes, ma'am.
scientific reason that men become undone when they're confronted?
Okay, so men's egos are very, very fragile because men will tell you this out of their own mouths. It's not something that I'm making up. All women have to do is pay attention and listen to men with the right ears. Have you heard men say, Our past don't matter as a man. Y'all past matter more as a woman. You know why? Because women are born with value. Women have to preserve their value. So this is the reason why her past matters. This is the reason why we need to know how many bodies you got, right? We need to know your past because we need to know that you preserve value. We, on the other hand, our past doesn't matter as men because we're born with no value. We have to build value, and we don't get our value don't come until around 30 or 35 or 40. Men will tell you that they're born at the wall,
Wait, what do you
but
mean they're
women
born at
don't
the
hear
wall?
that. They born
They-
at the wall. They say women hit the wall. So that means you come out the womb running, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the rabbit. And then when you get to a certain age, you just hum into a brick wall where men don't want you no more. That's the rationale, right?
Uh-huh.
That's not coming from me. That's coming from men letting you know their struggle as a man. We are born with no value. We have to build value.
Mm-hmm.
The average male struggles to build this value. And so they depend on women to get their value built. Men heavily depend on women because they are codependent by nature. So there, when you get down into the biology of the difference between men and women, what you're going to find out is something called sexual conflict.
Okay.
Sexual conflict, let me explain that. This manosphere red pill and this thing that men and women going back and forth with each other, y'all know that as what? The gender war, right?
Okay.
They know that as the gender war. And they think that the gender war is some manufactured thing from the elites. The gender war, the black woman against the black man and all that. We heard it. But what people do not understand is that when you get down into the biology of the XX and the XY chromosomes, what you're going to find is what is called sexual conflict, where male and female sexual purposes differ. They are in
Diverge.
opposition of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So women produce offspring by quality. It's quality over quantity for the
Right.
female,
Right. And for
right?
men, it's
And
quantity. Right.
it's quantity,
Spread the
right?
seed far and
And
wide. Yes.
absolutely. And so the earliest species on planet Earth were female. Female is the biological norm, and the earliest species of female copied themselves asexually, right? And so basically making clones of themselves, reproducing more exact copies. Well, in changing environments, you need genetic variation to ensure survival. So later on down the line, males were produced, okay, to carry extra genes for those environmental changes, okay? When women have daughters, women pass down mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA is only passed down from mother to daughter. And women are born with all of the eggs that they will ever use. And within those eggs, if those eggs are girl babies, the eggs are perpetual. They have a eternal line. It's an eternal line that never ends. However, when the male reproduces himself, he cannot exist unless he passes down a Y chromosome, and he can only pass that Y chromosome down
To the
if he
sons.
copulates with a female.
Yes.
He cannot do it on his own, which puts the male in a perpetual state of scarcity and survival because male fetuses are more fragile in the womb than females. Male sperm is more fragile. So from
Mm-hmm.
conception into the grave, the male is fighting to survive. So when he gets here on planet Earth, after going through all of the obstetric issues that he can face in utero, he comes out and has more issues with survival. So
Mm-hmm.
men's psychology is hardwired
Yeah.
for survival, where women's psychology is more about existing and abundance.
Oh,
So you have, go ahead.
that's our reminder to take a break. So let me
Okay.
so listen, so what we need to do for this break. So I want you to do this too, Princella.
Yes.
Get up out of your seat.
Mhm.
Move your hips, squat, stretch, do something. I know your makeup is looking all pretty and everything, but what we're going to do is
Yes.
we're going to take a movement break. And when we come back, we're going to read some of the cash apples from people who have sent them through. Um, you want to drop your cash app so that people can send something through to you? What is it?
Sure. It's Princella C.
Oh, okay. At Princella, well, dollar sign Princella C on Cash App.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, wonderful. So the spelling of her name is in the title of the video as well as in the description. So let me just get people geared up, and then we'll come right back in 3 minutes. What was the last thing that you said before? We were talking about males being wired for survival. Do you remember the
Yes,
last
they're
thing that you said?
yes. Yes,
Mm,
males are wired for survival and scarcity, and
yeah.
women are wired for existence and abundance.
Okay, perfect. So remember that thought because we're going to be back in about 3 minutes. Give me just one moment. All right, so we're going to take a quick movement break right now because, we're going to be sitting here for a few hours. So you can use this time to get up, go get a drink of water. While you're getting up to get your drink of water, move those hips, squat down, stretch your arms, do something. Sitting is death. And so we want to promote life. So get up out of your seat and bust a groove. I'm going to put on some high caliber music for you to be able to dance to. All right, so here we go. Listen, no matter what it is that you do, get up and do something. I can see you, Princella, and I don't see you busting a groove.
I'm supposed to be dancing?
Girl, move. All right, perfect. my goodness. Man, that was something else. I love that song. Where are you, Princella? Princella.
I'm right here, baby.
You done come back out with the Hugh Hefner robe and everything?
Yes.
Oh, girl, get it. Get it. Hey. Okay. All right. Wow. Woo. Okay, so we are back from the break.
That's good.
I want you all to
How
tell
often you
me
take those breaks? Those are really good.
I want you all to tell me what is it that you all did during the break. I saw Princella bust a little groove back there. I was doing some fast-paced electric slide. That's what I was doing. I want you all to tell me what you all got into. Whew. All right. So welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I am talking with Princella, the Queen Maker, and she is dropping science on the nature of men, the things that she's learned and researched, and we were getting into how she came upon the views that she has incorporated. Let me read the apples that have come in real quick. Let me just grab the first one, and then we'll jump back into the broadcast. Whew, my goodness, here we go. All right, so Tynesha sent $5 and says, OMG, love this one. Bring ladies out microphone. All right, I feel you on that. I feel you. All right, so Princella, let's talk. So the last thing that we were talking about before the break was you were talking about the nature of men coming, or nature of boys coming out of the wombs, that they're wired for fighting for survival, and that women are wired for, let's pick up where we left off.
Yes, so because the male has to struggle to survive, because in so many different ways it's as if the uterus or the womb is trying to get rid of what is different in the womb. So males have a lot of deficits that they have to struggle through.
Yeah.
And so when a woman is pregnant with a male fetus, the male child leaves Y chromosomal DNA scattered across the mother's brain, so that he can ensure that she gives more care to him than a daughter, because girls are the stronger sex. They have more emotional intelligence, they are smarter, they have less deficiencies. Males have a lot of deficiencies and they need so much help. And so their struggle for survival is stronger than the female. So because the Y chromosome is so degenerate, it's missing a lot of genes. I'm just saying what it is, you know what I mean? Because these are facts. They're facts. The X chromosome has way more genes, thousands of genes, compared to the only a few hundred genes on the Y chromosome, which makes males have a lot more deficiencies than females and makes them more codependent. So men, or male children, are born in scarcity and survival. Scarcity and survival are the two staples of men that make them who they are. Females, on the other hand, they're born in abundance and they're born to exist. The female does not have to fight to pass her genes along. She is born in sexual abundance. She's born in sexual abundance. The male is born in sexual scarcity. So in a natural environment, the average male would not make it, because he would have to be the fittest in order to survive, to pass his genes along. The majority of them don't make it. So in this system that has been created, patriarchy, the male, even the most unfit male has been given access to a woman to pass his genes along. But men, you need to understand that they move to pass their genes along in abundance. So it's not quality versus quantity, it's quantity over quality for them. So one woman ain't enough, even if you give him one woman. And the reason why you end up with men who unalive women and they say, if I can't have you, no one can, because males operate in scarcity and women are a resource to men. Women and sex is just like food and water to men. So when women are free, it bothers men because they live in territory, scarcity, right? They aggression, all of these things, conquering, right? So there is their existences are diametrically opposed to each other, which creates the conflict. So if I want you to look at my hands, if the natural flow is going this way, in order to make it go the other way around, you have to force it inward. Heterosexual relationships, and I'm not talking about just sex, I'm talking about literally maintaining a full relationship, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, responsibility, all that. In order to maintain this, both parties have to go against their nature. Men are being forced to be monogamous in this unnatural system. They are forced to be in the house and they don't want to be in the house. They are forced to help the woman carry responsibilities that were meant for women to carry. And he can't do it. And he's upset about it. And he's struggling trying to do it. So he's having to try to deal with women's emotions when they can't even deal with their own. Now,
hold on. I
upset.
need to give an applause on that right there. I need to give an
Yes.
applause on that, girl. Yes, absolutely. Okay, go ahead.
Men will get upset of what I'm saying because, again, the truth does not support their existence, and men depend on a delusion. Men depend on women living in a delusional state to continue to get access to women. Because if women knew the truth, a lot of women would not be dealing with men. Okay. But men do not even know how they feel in their own body, and they don't even have the words to tell you how they feel in their own body. The male's emotional vocabulary is it's an impediment.
Oh, my
He
precious
might
goodness.
only have 4 or 5 words to describe the feeling. The male really believes that the only emotions are happy, sad, and mad, or something like that. Happy, sad, and mad. Men are more likely to be affected by a deficit called alexithymia. Alexithymia impacts men way more than it impacts women. And what is alexithymia? Alexithymia is a lack of an emotional vocabulary. Men can't even tell you how they feel. And they're being forced in relationship dynamics where women are trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip and get him to emotionally connect with her when he doesn't even know his own emotional state. So Tanya, whatever you just pulled up to alexithymia, if you could just read it for everybody, whatever
Okay,
it describes.
sure. Let me put this right here, and let's get the. There we go. Give me 1 second. I need to. Once we went live, the screens changed, so just became. So here we go. Alexithymia is not a condition in its own right, but rather an inability to identify and describe emotions. People with alexithymia have difficulties recognizing and communicating their own emotions, and they also struggle to recognize and respond to emotions in others. That sounds like men to me. That sounds like men to me,
Yes.
for sure. Mm-hmm.
And more men are affected with that or by that than females. And women there has been a systematic effort to keep women out of the knowledge of male makeup. Women don't know this. So because women don't know this, women are putting a lot of pressure on men, trying to get men to do something that they really are incapable of doing. Okay, this is what women don't understand. So not only are they trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip by doing that, women also do not know the effects that testosterone has on male behavior. Testosterone is the chemical that is responsible for aggression, dominance, competition, and verbal aggressiveness in men. It is responsible for that. It is the sole chemical. Testosterone is concentrated in the male bloodstream 15 times more than that of a woman. And what they also don't know is that your prefrontal cortex, right, that sits at the front of your brain, in there is housed the orbital frontal cortex. The orbital frontal cortex is basically your brake pedal. Like in your car when you're speeding or you're driving and then you press your brakes so that you don't crash into a wall. That's the orbital frontal cortex is your brake pedal.
Okay.
So the amygdala is responsible for emotions, and one of the key emotions of the amygdala is anger. Men are not emotionally expressive. They are emotionally reactive. Now, the larger the orbital frontal cortex is, the brake pedal, in relation to the amygdala, will give a person more control over their emotions. So when you compare the volume size or the volume of the orbital frontal cortex just by men and women alike, what you find out is that women's orbital frontal cortex is larger than men's orbital frontal cortex in relation to their amygdala and in relation to each other.
I need to write that down while you're going on.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes. Okay. So once you realize that and you understand the effects that testosterone has on the amygdala, when testosterone levels rise, what testosterone is doing is knocking on the door of the amygdala. Hey, I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry. This is where the Incredible Hulk comes in, right? You're making me angry, right? This is testosterone knocking on the amygdala, okay? When women keep talking and messing with men, their testosterone levels continue to rise until it cuts off the brake pedal. It shuts off the brake pedal's job, and men become impulsive. And so if you make a man mad enough, raising his testosterone levels, men can black out, right? And that's them going, cutting off that brake pedal. And in order to counteract as an antagonistic effect on testosterone, you need serotonin and you need cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that acts as an antagonizer to testosterone. And cortisol is a stress hormone. So what does this tell you? That men function better in stressful environments. Women do not function this way. So if men are more affected by alexithymia than women, where they lack an emotional vocabulary, and they're more emotionally reactive, and then the system that they're living in, that they're trying to domesticate men in, put men in a stoic mentality where they are ashamed of expressing their emotions. Men begin to bottle up these emotions, and then when women who are totally ignorant of male makeup come, why you don't talk to me? Why you don't express your emotions? She don't even know that she making him mad. She don't even know that she's about to get this dude to. And this is why men keep saying, y'all need to keep y'all mouth closed, but the women don't know why. And so what I teach women is the full nature of a man and who he is at his core, and why you experience what you experience. Because once I give you all the information, what I'm giving these women is freedom of choice. People like to call me a lesbian cult leader because the messenger has chosen to date women after I learned all this. It wasn't until I learned all this and then I wrote my book, 41 Shades of Men, The Pursuit to Subdue and Use You, that I say, you know what? I don't got to deal with this. I got the freedom to choose the life that I want. And so what I do is I give women the ability to think, the ability to rationalize, and the ability to choose. So I don't tell women that they have to be lesbians, but what I do tell them is, one, you got 4 options. You have 4 choices, right? You got the freedom of choice with the ability to think through these choices, right?
Yeah.
But number 2, everything that you believed about men was a lie. And what you're looking for in men are the characteristics of a woman. You want men to be providers, protectors, emotionally expressive, emotionally intelligent. These are all the character traits of a woman. And if you keep begging men to be women and believing that you have some sexual power, or you just the baddest person that you can turn any man, you can fix any man, you're gonna continue to hurt yourself. Men will never be women. And you need to stop trying to force them to be. If you want to be with a man, you need to accept the man for exactly who he is at his core. Stop trying to change them. Stop trying to make them be something that they're not, because at the end of the day, if what you're wanting is a woman in a male frame, and if you want that, then you either need to date a trans man or you need to get you a woman. But you need to stop trying to force men to be women. So, one, after I done told you who men are and I done proved it to you through science, you can still date them, right? You can know the scientific makeup of them. You can know all 41 shades of these men. You can know everything about them, their hygiene, their lying, where they sticking their penis, whether you know it or don't know it, and open yourself up to risk. You have that choice, but you're not gonna choose it out of being dumb and blind. You gonna choose it because you know better. And once you do that, whatever you get out of that is all on you. Don't come back telling me nothing. I don't want to hear it, because if you do, I'm gonna charge you $1,000 for 1 hour for you to tell me why your feelings hurt, because I really don't give a damn, and I'm gonna make you pay for my time. Number 2, you can be celibate. Ain't nobody told you that you have to give your sexual energy to anybody. You can, as a woman who I have freed, you have the ability to do what the fuck you want to do. So if you want to date men, date them. If you want to be celibate, be celibate. If you want to get a bunch of toys and be a dominatrix and be on OnlyFans playing with yourself so the world can see you playing with your toys, girl, do you. Get all of them. And don't nobody ever touch you but yourself. Cool. Or you could get a woman. Either one of these choices You are free to make in your power because the feminine is the power source. The woman is God. The divine is the feminine. And that bitch can do whatever the hell she want to do. So if she want to have a bunch of women, she can. If she want to have a bunch of pool boys, she can. If she don't want nobody to touch her, she ain't got to let nobody touch her. Or she can fuck herself. Those are all the power choices that she
All
got to make.
right.
But for me, I choose women.
Okay, very interesting. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for sharing that. That was
Yeah.
really good. So I just wanted to check on some terms, and I want to make sure that I have them right. So you were talking about the orbital lobe that's in the prefrontal cortex. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the orbital frontal cortex is orbito. O
Okay.
R I Orbito. Orbital
Oh,
frontal.
orbital. I thought you said orbital. Okay, orbital.
Orbital
Okay, so
orbital
the
frontal cortex.
okay, orbital frontal cortex. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. And which part of the brain did you say was the brake pedal? Did you say that was the orbital lobe, or was
No,
that the
the orbital frontal cortex. It's housed in the prefrontal cortex, and that particular part of the brain is the
hmm
brake pedal. It
Okay,
controls it controls impulse, and it can
okay,
get shut off. It doesn't get shut off in women though. It only gets shut off in men.
okay,
And
okay,
testosterone is what shuts it off.
okay, okay. And then you said that we need serotonin and cortisol in order to mitigate emotional outbursts. Is that what you said? Just
Yeah,
repeat that part. Okay.
to mitigate, well, to act antagonistically against testosterone, right?
Okay.
So instead of the orbital frontal cortex doing the job, since it gets cut off and testosterone is the one that cut it off, there has
Mhm.
to be something else to bring testosterone down to get people to get these males to control their behavior, right?
Mhm.
So it would be serotonin and cortisol that
Okay.
would do that.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I'm going to look that up after we get off because that sounds very interesting. Where was it that you came upon that particular information about the brain? Because I told my base that the brain, like neuropsychology, is something that I want to study. So where did you
Mhm.
come across this information about the orbital frontal cortex and all of that?
Okay, so when I do all of my observation and I come to my conclusions first before
Mm-hmm.
I look for the studies. So once I come to the conclusion, I work backwards. I go to PubMed,
Okay.
and then I type in what I'm looking for because
Okay.
I know these scientists have done research on it. I
Okay.
know they got the answers. So once I say this is what it is, I just go find a peer review research, and lo and behold, it's right there to back up what I have already come to the conclusion of, right? So
Okay.
you can go to PubMed literally to find anything. If you
Okay.
want to find out how breakups impact men's health, why men can't live alone, and what emotional effect, you can go find that. You can go find out how semen affects males' behavior or their body if they don't release it. You can find anything that you can think of that you see as a problem, and I promise you there is a
Mm.
research paper out there on it.
Interesting. Interesting. Perfect. I'm glad you said that because I was also because a few years ago I did some one of the things that you said is absolutely correct. That in the manosphere, they're not researching what they're saying. They're just saying it. And it was this meme that was going viral about how when a woman has intercourse, that the male DNA is left inside of her womb, right? And so
Mhm.
I went and I did some research on that, but that's false. When she has intercourse, his DNA is not left in her womb. The DNA that is the male DNA that is found in a woman's womb comes from the boy children that she's given birth to as well as her father. So it's father
Mhm.
and son DNA that is left inside of her. You said earlier that DNA, that the male child leaves his Y chromosome DNA on her brain. Can you state that again so
Yes.
that I could just look this up?
Yeah. Yeah. You said it right. When women are pregnant with male fetuses, they
Mm-hmm.
leave Y chromosomal DNA scattered across the brain. So if you write that, all you got to do is type it in Google and you'll
Okay,
find it.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that I was quoting you correctly and so that other people can look into this as well, because the stuff that you're saying is fascinating.
Hmm.
Fascinating, and I'm glad that we had a chance to have this conversation. Let's talk really quickly. Let me uh-huh.
I
Let's
typically on my show, anytime I reference anything, I pull the studies up directly for my audience and I post it on the screen so they can see it and they can go do their research on their own. But
Nice.
so you can, if you want to look that one up, you can also look up, you can go look up Sebastian Kramer's work. Sebastian Kramer, Fragile Male. You can look up testosterone and aggression. Okay. Testosterone and aggression. You can look up how men do not
Human?
see women as human, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How they function from the left side of their brain and how they see women as tools.
Mm-hmm.
All of the research is there, right?
Okay. All right. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, the crazy part about this, right? The crazy part about this and this conversation is that sooner or later, I'd say most women, if they're paying attention, sooner or later, most women are going to come to some of these conclusions
Hmm.
after being frustrated for so long. And when I hear these men talking about how they're going to get younger and younger women, so part of the thing, that the issue that people have with you is they say you're a lesbian, you hate men, this, that, and the other, you like women, etc. Right? And part
Hmm.
of what they say about me is that I hate men, that I didn't have a father, that this, that, and the other, right?
Hmm.
And my mother died when I was a teenager, so my father did the tail end of the rearing
Hmm.
on me and my siblings. And so my father is very much present in my life, and a big influence, as well as, my other family members, etc. Right? And
Hmm.
so for you, I can see how they're like, oh, well, you're saying this because you're lesbian, you like women. However, I like men, and I still have come to some of these conclusions, because it's like when you see male nature and when you see how they get down. So, part of what it is that I do is I speak to younger women, and the men come out and they're like, oh, why are you trying to taint these younger women against what it is that we're doing? And it's because the younger women don't know. But live long
Right.
enough, and you shall find out. So I want to dive back into some of what you were saying early in the broadcast. You
Hmm.
were saying that you were married,
Yes.
that you've dated men, etc., but you came to the conclusion that you were not going to find what it is that you needed in a man. When did you
Hmm.
come to that conclusion? Was that during your marriage, after the marriage, during dating?
Oh, this was last year, and actually,
Oh.
This was December 2022, right? So I had been for 25 years. I have I believe in a higher power, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we are spirits or souls here
Having a
having a
human
human
experience.
journey. We're on a human
Mm-hmm.
journey. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we all have a purpose. So planet Earth to me is a training ground.
Mm-hmm.
So for my purpose, which is what I'm doing right now, which is to free women, I believe the creator sent me through a training phase for
Mm.
25 years dealing with men. I have been a tomboy my entire life. I grew up as a tomboy, and I've been around men in a multitude of capacities.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with them as friends. I've been with them in male dominated industries as their co-workers. I
Mm-hmm.
have led them because my platoon was mostly men. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was in charge of men.
Mm-hmm.
I was in charge of myself, but I've I've been with them and in relationships, and I've observed them online, and men have contacted me to get help over the years and it for advice. So when
Mm-hmm.
I tell you I know men, I know them, not just being in relationships, and I know that I'm one hell of a person. I know that I'm one hell of a person and I don't have conflicts with people.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I'm dealing with people socially or whether it's business or whatever, I'm a delight to be around.
Oh,
I I
is that
I'm a delight
so?
to be, yes,
Oh,
I'm a delight
oh.
to be around. And everything that men have said that a woman needed to do to be with them, I was. I was the nurturer, right? I'm really good at giving massages, right? I did the whole 9 yards. I'm a hell of a cook too, right? I
Mm.
used to cook online, right?
Oh.
I used to be on Facebook. People would see my meals and everything. I was doing all that. And on top of that, I had talent outside of this world, right?
Oh.
Very intelligent, the whole nine.
Yeah.
But I've always been entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried to work with guys and partner in business. And guess what? Guess who did the manipulating and the plan? Them. Guess who end up having to do all the work? Myself, right? And
Mm.
so over the years, after being sexually assaulted, after
Oh.
having a man pull a gun on me, after being robbed by men, after being taken for money, after being um raped in 2016 and getting pregnant from that rape, thank goodness. Yeah, and the guy tells me this is and here's this thing. All this happened during my pro-black phase.
Oh my
During my
goodness.
pro-black phase
Listen,
where
listen, listen. It is time for us to take a quick break, real quick. We are going to come back on this exact thing that you're saying. So I want you to remember the last thing that we talked about, where you were talking about this journey and the capacities in which you knew and interacted with men, and then the assault, the pregnancy, and then that's where we stopped. And then the pro-black phase. Oh my
yeah.
goodness, this is very deep. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Let me
Mhm.
just get people prepped for the break. Wow. You know what? Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you for being a part of this broadcast. If you don't know, right now we are talking with Princella, the Queen Maker, and she is an up and coming YouTube phenom where she has hit the interwebs with, with talks of the research that she's done into men, the different ways in which she knows and is expounding upon their nature. She's written a book. Princella, promote your book real quick here.
Yes. All right. So I have a book that I've written called The Game 41 Shades of Men, The Pursuit to Subdue and Use You. After the life experiences that I've had, I had to figure out it's not me because I've done all the self work, I've done all the, and it's still the same issue.
Yes, yes,
What
yes.
is the problem? It ain't me at this point. And after the last guy that I dealt with, who actually was a 7-figure guy, it dawned on me. These dudes, they're all the same, no matter what age, financial bracket, tax bracket they're in. It don't matter how they look, it does not matter. And that's when all of the wisdom came together,
Mm,
and it's like, you know what, men are consumers and women are the resource that they consume, and men approach women for 41 different reasons. And if women want to know who they're dealing with, all they got to do is see who they are in one of these 41 shades, and I guarantee you, you'll find them in here. So,
yes,
the game,
absolutely.
41 Shades of Men, the pursuit to subdue and use you.
Yes, and her link to the book is in the description. And when we come back, we're going to get back into the portion of the broadcast where she was opening up and follow up with that. Right now we need to take a movement break, so I'm encouraging everyone to get up and move. I'm going to put on some high-paced music for you all. So get up and bust a groove, move your hips, bend down, touch the ground, Scrub the ground, bend down low, stand up, do some squats, stretch, run in place, anything, jumping jacks, whatever the case may be, do that. And we're going to be back in 3 minutes. So you have 3 minutes to move, because sitting is death, and we've been on this broadcast for over an hour. And so make sure that you get up right now and get some movement in. All right. Thank you all so much. We're going to be back in 3 and 3. Princella, if you don't stop, I'm going to put that on camera. She's behind the scenes giving a show that is may not be for YouTube. It might be for the After Dark programs. All right, we're going to be right back. Man, even I got caught up in that break. Oh my goodness. When I went to my college reunion years ago, there was a guy from Chicago that taught me this style of dancing. I don't know if everybody in Chicago does this, but it's pretty much a hop like this, left and right. That's what I was doing behind the scenes. Then I started squatting down low. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. All right, so we are back. We're back. And today we're talking with Princella, the Queen Maker. And we were, you know, there were some people that were talking about why I took the break when I took the break. And what happens is if we don't take the break at the break times, then it kind of gets lost and then we just don't get the break. So it's important for us to be able to give ourselves those reminders to do a pattern interrupt, to get up, to move, and we're going to come right back into it. Don't worry, we're getting right back into it right now. So let me check the apples real quick. I appreciate you all for sending them through. Let's grab this. Ooh, I'm enjoying the movement breaks. How are you all feeling about it? The reminder to move. Well, how are you all handling that? Are you all moving behind the scenes? If you are, let me know what you've done. All right. So Essence has sent through. Oh no, Tymisha has. Oh no, we read that one before. So Essence has sent in $5 and says this collab is everything. Thank you, Essence. I appreciate that. You know what, Princella, we need to talk about what it took for us to be able to get together and do this collab, because it took a lot of months, and it took a lot. So we'll talk about that in a moment. James sends $3 and says, Queen Maker, fuck nigga slayer. Is that one of your
Yeah.
sayings, Princella? Is that how you be talking on your
No,
channel?
no, that's how James refer to me.
Oh, okay. Lisa Roxanne sends $3. Thank you, Lisa Roxanne. And Miss Lady sends 5 and says, this is the collab I've been waiting for. Aw, that's so great. You know what? I'm glad that you said that, because there are some people that didn't want the collab to happen. Cinnamon Wolf sends in $40 and says, for you both. So I'm going to send you $20. So anybody that sends something through on the Cash App for Princella or for Princella, I'm going to send it to her. So I'll wait until the end of the broadcast to be able to get all of it over to you. Okay?
All right.
All right. So thank you, Cinnamon. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And it looks like we got all of them there. So right now we are speaking with the infamous, the undisputed. Well, some people dispute you, but we are speaking with Princella, the Queen Maker. Welcome back in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right.
Thank you.
So right before the break, you remember what was the last thing we were talking about? We were talking about the assault that you had that resulted in a pregnancy, and you were saying, thank goodness. And then that's when the alarm came off for us to take our break. And so you were saying that it did not result in, and so I'm going to allow you the moments to continue.
Yeah, so thank goodness that they didn't have this abortion ban back then, because
Mm,
that would have not been a good thing, right?
mm,
So, and this was during my pro-black phase, right? And so what men expect women to do is endure a bunch of trauma,
yeah,
endure a bunch of pain that they are causing, and then get out here and be like, black men, I just love black men so much. They do no wrong, and
mm,
pro-black, while you cover up the
yeah,
brutality
yeah,
that they are doing to you. This is what men expect. And if you don't do that and you speak your experiences, the first thing they want to say is you hurt. And in order to
mm,
prove to them that you're not hurt, you need to speak holier than thou of them and never utter the words of something that somebody has done to you. And if you do utter it, take the blame for it and then
mm,
praise them. That's what they expect. Well, I was
mm,
wrong. I should have never did this. I should have never did that. And I attracted him. This is what they want you to speak into the atmosphere. I'm
mhm,
not speaking that, because let me tell you something. The only reason that women get the stuff that they get out of men is because women believe something about men
mm,
that's not true, that gives her rose-colored glasses, that inadvertently puts her into dangerous situations.
mhm,
That's the problem. It's not
yeah,
necessarily the woman herself, unless she has some severe codependent ways and she believes that the only way that she can get this love or her codependent needs met is if she turns to a male. And
mhm,
then she attracts men who are looking for somebody with weaknesses,
yes,
right? So women being out of knowledge and having codependent ways is what attracts these men. And if you heal yourself and you become like me, these men will leave. They will get away. And that's a blessing, ladies. A man leaving you alone is a blessing. It is not a red flag. A man that's approaching women in droves, they all sense something lacking in that woman that they feel that they can use to manipulate her with, right? That's what women need to understand. So if women shifted their perception on men, a lot of women's lives would be a whole lot better than what it is. Because one of the patterns that I noticed in my life is that when I didn't have no dude in my life was good.
Listen, hold on. I need to put up an applause on that.
Yeah.
You know what? Listen, because we see them all over the internet talking about that's why you single, you gonna be single, and I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. What you talking about? Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the thing. The first dude that played me in my early 20s. Now, you know that these guys like to pursue younger women because they're more impressionable, right?
Yeah.
Which means that it's easier to manipulate those. And if there's an age gap, a man who's been around longer, he has more experience and more game that he can run on somebody and on an unsuspecting victim.
Yes.
So as a car salesman who was at the top of her game working around men who had been in the game for 30 years, one of the sayings amongst men in the car industry, it's a new fool born every day. It's a new fool born every day. And you make the most money on people who don't know how to buy cars. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is dangerous, right? And so I watched a man, one of my coworkers, it was an old man who came into the dealership one time, and he had a paid off vehicle and he wanted to trade it in. And to make a long story short, the man didn't know anything. He was just wanting to trade in his truck for a new truck. The salesman who took that truck in on trade held $19,000 worth of equity and kept it for himself.
Wait.
What does that mean? He shorted the man $19,000 of what his car was really worth. And the old man did not know any better, right? Ignorance is not bliss. And what I provide women with is clarity, because women are moving in total ignorance when they're dealing with men. They don't know men, but I do. And I'm going to teach you what men ain't going to teach you about them. And this is the reason why they don't like me. So they have to figure out any kind of way to get women to stop listening to me. So they'll say, oh, she a lesbian. Oh, she don't have no man. Oh, she hurt. Anything to prevent their resource from drying up. Men need women like they need air and like they need water. And that if you restrict the resources, food, air, water, and women, these men will go crazy. So they need women to stay in delusion land and continue to believe these lies about them. So you don't want to be the old man walking into the dealership and getting your car stolen and losing $19,000 on your car that should have been in your pocket. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I prevent women from going through this. But yes, ladies, I got knocked upside my motherfucking head for 25 years dealing with men. And you don't have to experience what I experienced. The first dude to run game on me was a guy from the Nation of Islam, right? In this pro-black stuff. To make a long story short, This dude took my student loan money by running game. And what is that? Support your man, right? Build him up, right? They're supposed to be the ones you trust. But then when you trust these dudes and when you get on their program and then you get screwed over, who they want to blame? They want to blame you, right? They want to blame you. So ladies, since you are always at fault, no matter what you do, you damned if you do and damned if you don't, girl, I'm telling you fucking don't.
Oh my.
Stand up for yourself. So to make a long story short in that, I got hit for 40 grand. $40,000 I got hit for, right?
Of your student loan money?
Yes. Okay. And I ended up living, basically being homeless after that, right? I dealt with men and tried to help them with business. And because of their jealousy, because I have work ethic, they were feeling insecure because they couldn't do what I was doing. And as a result of their anger and jealousy of me, they attacked me, right? Put their hands on me.
Wait,
okay.
what?
So yes.
At your job?
No, at the domicile, right? Because so I had this one guy, we were supposed to be working together. So what had happened, this was after the guy had took a lot of money from me. And so now I'm in this interim period where I'm living in an apartment and I need assistance to keep the apartment going. So I get a roommate, and this roommate decided that he wanted to do a business. Hey, let's put a business together. Well, I got a lot of executive skills. I have a lot of clerical skills. So I put the business plan together to push what he wanted to do. Instead of me being the head, I took the position of being the support, like I did for every situation I've been in. I've always been the support, letting the male lead. As a result of doing that, he got jealous and angry. So he would say stuff like this. He would see me putting some stuff together and I say, I did this. Oh, you must think I'm stupid or something. You must think I'm stupid. What you mean? I think you stupid, right? You must think you stupid. So I'm not the type of person, Tanya, I don't like conflict. I disengage from conflict. So I don't argue with men. I don't argue with people. So he got into an argument with me one day, and I said I wasn't going to argue with him. So I locked myself in the room, and he broke in the room to put his hands on me. The neighbors called the police, right? Okay. And so this is where I ended up leaving Shreveport and moved to Houston, Texas. Okay. Right. When I got to Houston, Texas, I found myself in a very similar situation. Very similar. Same damn thing. I'm selling products. I meet this guy. He wants to do a business because he meets me doing door-to-door sales. He lives across the street from my brother. Same exact thing. I put a business plan for him together. He wants to do this blues show. Brand new in Houston. I started linking up with everybody in Houston. I started linking up with the musicians. I get the place. I put the whole thing together. He's supposed to be funding it. Guess what? Halfway into it, I find out that the reason that you're doing this is because you got beef with people in the city and you trying to showboat on them. And so now, because I'm doing all the work, you feel like everybody's communicating with me and they don't see you. So now you're mad at me because you feel like I'm trying to take over your project. So it's the same exact thing. I'm working in his office, and because he stays across the street from my brother. So I'm over there working in his office, putting some stuff together, trying to get the artists to come, getting them paid and everything. He comes to start an argument with me. And I say, I'm not going to start no argument. I'm not arguing with, I go in one of the rooms, lock myself in the room to get away from him. He breaks in the room too and comes and grabs me by my throat and slams me in the shower. I'm like, this ain't me. This is not me.
Hold on, hold on.
And
Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning,
yeah,
trigger
yeah,
warning.
this ain't me. Ain't no way somebody finna blame me for these males' behavior. Now, at 12, I was raped. This is the pattern of life for me dealing with men, just in relationships now. Let's not talk about friendships where and coworkers. I'm in the military, male dominated industry, right? I watched my first sergeant get demoted, right? I watched my first sergeant get demoted because he was having relations with a enlisted soldier, a private, which is totally against ethics, but he's married
Oh,
man. I watched this happen. A friend of mine at the time who was a soldier in my unit who used to come to my house and ride in my car, and we used to go to drill together. Tell me why he's serving life in prison right now, because of his extreme codependency, where this woman that he was dealing with decided to break up with him, and he stalks her at her job. This dude used to ride in my car. He stalks her at her job,
do people
and
need a trigger warning right now?
trigger warning, stalks her at her job, follows her home at 4:30 in the morning because she worked at the casino. This woman, her son was 8 years old at the time. He jumped out and he ambushed her and slit her
Wow.
throat. This dude used to ride in my car, right? Then there was a guy that used to be in a rap group that I rapped in, who once upon a time tried to pressure me for sex, and I told him no. And he didn't take it. He wasn't too happy about it when I told him no, but clearly over the years, people kept telling him no over and over. The last chick that told him no, he raped her and he chopped her body up and threw it in the river. Something is not right about these men. Okay. Then I had a dude try to ask me for sex, right? And I told him no. We playing dominoes, and he pulls out a gun and put it on the table and tell me I could take it if I want to,
Take
right?
what? The gun or the game?
No, he asked me for sex and I turned him down. And when
Oh,
I
he
said
said
no, he
he
pulled
could.
out a gun,
Oh,
yes,
oh.
and put it on my table and told me that, hey, I can take it if I want to, right? These are the experiences that I've had with men in and out of relationships, being in proximity with them while I'm working at the gas station, not the gas station. Well, I'll come back to the gas station. When I'm working at the car lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm one of the only women, that's hanging around the guys, right? The fellas, because
Mm,
I'm outselling them, right?
mm.
I'm outselling them. So I'm one of the big dogs in the car at the car industry. And one day we are all in a group, and I'm the only woman in there. Because I'm a tomboy and I got a strong work ethic, a lot of men look at me as one of them. They accept me in their groups and they talk to me like I'm one of them. So one day it's probably about eight of us, 8 to 10 of us in this group standing outside. Some of them are smoking. The manager's talking. He was my manager. We all just sitting there. And the manager just starts saying, yeah, man, shit. When my wife leave the house, man, I be fucking her niece, man. That shit, man. Yes, I know men, baby. I know men. One of the employees, he would come and tell me he was married. He was married. He would come up and tell me, hey, I remember he came and said, I just got finished fucking the receptionist, and they left they had to get make ready to clean out the car, one of the brand new cars, because he ejaculated in the car and stained the seats. So he had to have one of the make ready. But this is men, right? This is men. And so men who do not know that I have the knowledge on them, they try to gaslight as if I don't know them. I know them in and out of the facade that they want to push, right? So this is years worth. This is years worth of data, right? I had a dude who was supposed to be my friend set me up for $2,000. How he ran game on me with that, right? He's supposed to be my friend. He's supposed to be selling me a computer. He builds a friendship with me just to set me up to take some money to sell me the idea of him selling me a computer. Once I caught on, the nigga never was selling me a computer. He just took my money, right?
Yeah.
And then he tried to set me up to take an even larger amount. But by the time he tried to set me, I already figured out your game, right? So these are the experiences that I've had with men. So now I have to ask, this is what men want women to do. When you experience a series of situations like this, what men want women to do is to say, you're the problem. You're attracted that, like attracts like, you dirty, they're dirty, it's your fault. This is what so they want to quote unquote blame the victim, but that's not how you analyze a situation. You analyze situations based on patterns. So what they don't realize is after every last one of those things, I never just jumped into relationships back to back to back. No, I did some self-work. I did some introspection. I changed some thoughts. I changed a lot. And every time I changed, the men's behaviors did not change. I changed, but the male's behaviors do not change. That's real interesting. So after the last two guys that I dealt with, and this was 2021, after that, one of them was a friend. One of them I was dating for a little bit. One of them was a friend. One of them I was dating for a little bit. The friend tried to set me up over a period of 5 years to try to take some money from me. He set me up for a period of 5 years to try to run a hustle on me. And in the end, it backfired on him. And luckily, I figured it out and caught him before it actually happened, right? And so I ended up cutting him off. But then the guy that was making 7 figures, you're old. Baby, when I tell you I done dated these suckers from the cradle to the damn grave, I done dated them in every tax bracket, okay? I have dated them in every age group, and the results are still the same, okay? So this guy, you got your own business, you're old as hell, you should probably be dying in the next 5 years.
You know something, that's so inappropriate.
But it's the truth. That nigga was picking cotton. That nigga has been around since people was picking cotton. So when I tell you he old, okay? All right. Right. So that nigga had 2 toes in the grave. And he had his own money. And you have your own business, and your ego is still fragile. And you're in competition with a little 30-something-year-old chick, and you're flaming so bad that you're willing to sabotage your own company to try to get at me. Okay, something is wrong. At this point, it ain't me. What the fuck is wrong with men?
All right, hold on. Let's expound upon that right there. Let's expound upon that. So, 2 different things, right? One, you are an amazing storyteller. Thank you for blessing us with these anecdotes, because they definitely do paint a picture. And it's funny because a few weeks ago, I was talking to my base, and I was talking about writing a book about these experiences because there's so many women who have had similar experiences. When I ended up living in my car, it was because I'd lent a male friend money, a male friend who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But when it came time to pay me back, this is how I ended up living in my car. And I had a roommate too. I was Tanya TKO at that time too. I had a male roommate who had this is when I learned like how these people are like, oh, the Pookies and the Ray Rays are the bad ones. When I had these issues with this white collar worker male roommate, it was a Pookie slash Ray Ray who kept me safe in that situation. And I realized that a lot of these Pookies and Ray Rays are mama's boys and they love women,
Hmm.
versus these men who are disempowered in their jobs and looking to take it out on women. So that story that you told about the old timer with the truck trading it in and losing $20,000 worth of equity just about, and it reminds me of how these people will prey on the weak, the
Hmm.
young, the ignorant, the financially less capable, those who don't know, et cetera, et cetera. So I appreciate you telling those stories. They definitely paint a huge picture. Question for you though about whether or not we attract experiences, because I am of the belief that we do attract certain experiences into our lives, not because we're to blame, but because
Right.
there's a higher there are like interstellar, there are fabrics of the multiverse that are at play, and like your experiences brought you into the awareness that you are now creating the content that you're creating. And everybody's experience has, it's either been a blessing or a lesson, so that we can be able to move differently, so that we can know something different, so that we can rise into our calling, so that we can gain some knowledge. I would love to hash it up with you on that point one day, because I definitely believe that as energetic beings, their experiences, like even like my mother dying, I believe that me as a spirit having a human experience, that I
Hmm.
incarnated into a life where that
Hmm.
existed. Even the look, this video is not going to be monetized with all the words and trigger warnings, but even the molestation that I faced as a child, that these experiences came into my life and have had an impact on creating who it is that I am now. The patterns that have come up for purview, like in
Hmm.
my life, the pattern that has come up over and over again is the lack of closure. And so
Hmm.
for me, the molestation, my mother dying while I was away at college, I never even got a chance to say bye to my mother. I hadn't seen her in months. And then she was dead. The next time I saw her, the what I saw in the coffin was not my mother. So
Right.
the patterns over and over of the lack of closure, and how do I move on without that closure? So that's been something
Right.
that's come up for me as a spirit having a human experience. There was something that you said that I wanted to really jump in on. Last night, I was in a situation in which I was speaking to a man that I believe may have been abusive, right? And
Hmm.
I was put in a situation where I did not want to argue with this male, right? And I have a policy of not arguing with males. I've made videos before, like the video of the woman who that man was like was punching her in the fast food restaurant, and then her son took him down. And I was telling these women, don't argue with these men, run. You just get away from them, because they're
Hmm.
volatile, they're dangerous. I need to cover this story of these women. I believe they were in a bowling alley, and this man and another police or security guard was calling them all out of their name, and they're arguing back and forth. And I'm like, more power to you ladies, because I cannot do it. And the
Hmm.
explanation that you gave about this, let me just quote you correctly, about the
Yes.
orbital frontal cortex and the amygdala and the cortisol and testosterone, and how they just lose control. Yeah, this is why I don't argue with them. So when I was
Hmm.
put in that situation last night, it really opened up my eyes. And then one component that you left off of there is the role that male identified women play in making other women unsafe.
Correct. Yes.
Because in this patriarchy, we have women who are looking for the validation. They're looking for ways to align and appease men, and they will set you up. They'll
Yes,
set you
they
up.
will.
They will hang you out to dry, all for the accolades or the atta girl of men.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is something that I address quite regularly on my channel, right? Women women are conditioned
Yeah,
so hard they don't know better, okay? And so you when you get to a place of operating out of love, you
yeah,
have to give grace because you have to understand that people really don't know better. The reason why there's so much anger, animosity towards other people is because we assume that since a person is an adult, that they absolutely have to know better. So we do not give them grace because we close the door on what we understand that people know and don't know. The average woman is ignorant. She has no education
it's
on
true.
men. She does not know anything. She was born into dysfunction, right?
Yeah,
So what the women being born into dysfunction and them functioning like this for a long time, they think that it's natural,
yeah,
but they don't realize that they have come into a normalized or an already normalized situation.
yeah,
So I'm a teacher more than I'm anything, right? Because you you can't tell people to do something, right? People only move when they have a strong reason why they need to move.
mm,
Telling people to just do something with no energetic power behind their movement, you will fail in the getting people to behave. So the reason that I teach the way I teach is because I give women a strong basis on why they need to move a certain way. So
yeah,
people would say you need to keep your legs closed, but you don't tell them why. So the woman continues to move off of her psychological programming, which is a false program that she don't know nothing about. So she
yeah,
can't actually keep her legs closed. And so men tell women you chose him and that y'all should choose better because men do not think that women will actually change their behavior.
yes,
They
yes,
think that women will remain in delusion and continue to make the mistakes that they're making. But they have made a gross underestimation of the things that they're doing and the women who are bold enough to come out here and let you know what's happening.
yeah,
So on my show, I teach women all of the sciences and all of the philosophies and things to make it real clear what's happening. So, no matter what subject you take, you can look at it surface level and then you can go deep into that point, right? A
mm-hmm,
lot of people like to stay up here and they don't like to dig under the ground. So every single thing that I do, I make sure I dig under the ground so that you can see the whole picture, right?
yeah.
So let's get to this women in this mammosphere. That's what I call it. I didn't call, yeah, I call them, you got the manosphere
Mamisphere.
and the mammosphere. Okay. All right.
Mamisphere.
Yeah. Yeah. So male identified women, they have been conditioned. Now, you have what is called principle.
Yeah.
Principles, okay, they are the same. They transcend. Principles are truth. They are fact. They are truth that stand the test of time. Hey,
Oh
sugar
my
pie.
goodness, what a cutie pie. Oh my goodness.
I love you.
Wow. We just got our broadcast blessed by a little cherub. Oh my
Say
goodness,
hi.
look at this princess. Oh, hi. How are, oh, look at this pink little dress.
You like the dress?
Hey.
Pink strawberries.
Pink strawberries.
Oh, how
Say hi.
precious. Hi, what a cutie.
All right.
Hi.
All right. Get out the camera, mama.
Okay.
All right. I love you.
Oh, how amazing. Oh, we've had our broadcast blessed today by a little angel who came to to show us why we're doing all of this for the ones who come behind us.
Okay. So principles are truth that stand the test of time and that stand true in any field. It doesn't matter. Principles. So leadership is about principles, standing on principles. So you done heard that. You have what is called the 7 Hermetic principles in life. Okay.
Yes. Okay,
These
let's
are
talk about these Hermes now. Let's go into it.
these
You
are
ready for
facts,
that?
yes, that stand the test of time. So the 7th Hermetic principle is called the principle of gender.
Yes, girl, get
Gender,
into it. Get into it.
gender is in everything. Gender is in everything, and they stand the same in every plane: physical, mental, and spiritual.
Yes.
So on the physical plane, okay, you have, let's back up a little bit. When masculine and feminine principles come together, you procreate, you
Yes.
create life. Okay. On the physical plane, life is only created on the physical plane through sex. Okay. Which means that the male body is the masculine vessel on the physical plane, not the mental and spiritual plane. Those are 2 different planes. But on the physical plane, the male is the masculine counterpart. The female is the feminine counterpart. And when they come together through sex, they create a baby. Okay. The brain, okay, is responsible for human behavior. So when you look at the yin and yang, the yin and yang shows black and white. Black represents the feminine and white represents the masculine. Okay. All right. This is important to understand. What is masculine energy? That's the question that nobody has answered. They talk masculine and feminine all the time, but they do not tell you what masculine energy is, because the people who are saying this don't know. They're just out here talking.
Right.
Masculine energy is a moving energy. It does work. So everybody has masculine energy in the physical. Every person has masculine energy on the physical plane, because no living being can live without having both counterparts, masculine and feminine. In the physical body, masculine energy are chemicals, because energy must flow. Energy must move. And the moving energy is masculine energy. Okay? So women in the yin and yang, the yin represents black. And it's the feminine, right? And it has that small little white circle in there, right?
Right.
The feminine, go ahead.
It's time for us to take a break. How much more time do you need to finish this one point?
Oh no, this one's long. We need to.
Okay. All right. So let me get everybody geared up for the break. Thank you. All right. So remember where it is that you're at. You were talking about the masculine with the small dot and why those colors are important. Okay. So that's what we're going to pick back up on when we come back from this break. So listen, everybody, first of all, a huge thank you to Princella for coming. You know what? We were supposed to talk about why it took so long for us to collaborate. So we're going to have to talk about that in the next segment, because I see people making some comments, and I think that it's important for us as women, especially, to be able to rein in some of our more humanness for the bigger picture. That's what I want. That's what I want to talk about in the next segment. So we have to keep on top of that. All right. So Princella, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for rising above the naysayers. I'm glad that I was able to come onto the other side of naysayers as well and get into this collaboration. So thank you so much for coming out and dropping your wisdom and your knowledge. I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know everything. And the things that you're talking about, I'm enjoying listening to, and I'm sure people are enjoying it as well. So we'll be back from this break. I appreciate each one of you for coming out and participating in this conversation. Right now, we're about to take a movement break. We've been on this broadcast for an hour and 50 minutes. And so sitting is death. It is important for us to get up and move. So no matter what it is that you do something. Even if you just touch your toes and stretch, even if you just raise your arms over your head and stretch this way, do a little electric slide behind the scenes, whatever it is that you want to do. Do some squats, some jumping jacks, something, anything, but just take this time to move, to dance, to do the electric slide, to electric boogie, up jump the boogie, whatever it is that you're going to do. And we'll be back in 3 and 3. All right. Woo! Welcome, 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 welcome back, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness. So, listen. If you did not move before, you have got to have moved this time, because that was amazing. And if you didn't get your groove on, here's another opportunity, because we did receive a super apple in. So let's get this party started. You know what time it is? You know what time? Hey! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Listen. Woo. We received in a super apple from Dirt Dabbler. And Dirt Dabbler says, Princella is the truth, the way, and the light. Girl, you got disciples? I did not realize that. All right, so here, let us go through. Aronica sends $4 and says she did the electric slide. That is dope. Rakaya sends $10 and says, for both of you beautiful and wise women. Okay, let me put a thing on here so I know that this is one of the ones that we are. Let me put, what can I put here? Here, I'll put that one so I know that that one is being split. Of course, Dirt Dabblers is being split as well. And then there was a $20 one that had come in earlier that was going to be split as well. But I will work that out afterwards. So let's see. Oh. James sends $2 and says, my client let me listen during her massage. Oh, well, I guess your client was getting educated then today. Aaliyah sends $2 and says, great calendar. I guess that means collaboration. You know, we'd be having our spell check. Renisha sent $10 and says, for Princella, I love you. So here, this one is for you, Princella. So I will send that one to you. Perfect, 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 perfect. Claire says, Tanya, I support your channel and I respect women. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Here, Miss Lady says, for Sin and Princella equal powerhouse, for you, Sin and Princella equal powerhouse panel. You know what? We should talk about that. We should talk about that. But, you know, not too soon until we have the things in the works. But we are definitely working on creating a way to take this conversation and take it to the next level. So absolutely. So this is another one that I will split, and I will send over $1 to Princella, $1 to Sin, and I will keep $1 for myself. So I appreciate all of this. Thank you all so very, very much. Let me refresh and make sure. Okay, so I have everything. Wonderful. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thank you, thank you. All right, so Princella, let's get back to you. And let me do some housekeeping and some maintenance. Whenever I go live, there are people who get a text notification when I go live so that you get the link. You never miss a live broadcast. And if you want to join the text notification squad, the link is, if you go into the description of this video, you'll find the link to Princella's channel. You'll find the link to her website. If you go a little bit below that, you'll see the link to my website. And if you go to my website and just go to the tab for text, you can join the text notification squad. It's $1.99 a month, and you get a notification whenever I go live. There's also a group where we meet behind the scenes on Telegram, and we meet between videos. And I believe Princella also has some groups she's doing behind the scenes. I'm going to give her a few moments to talk about that. So that, here, go ahead, Princella.
Yes, so I have a Discord group that people can join, just so you can get notifications when I go live on my Discord, and you can get that on my channel. I also do memberships on my channel where we do Zoom calls every let's see, every second Saturday of every month, I do movie night. So we all of my members get to come in and we get to break down movies. Every Wednesday, I watch shows, or we just have communication amongst all of our members, so that way women can build relationships with women who are on the same wavelength and same journey as themselves. So I also run a book club on Sundays, so that I can teach women how to personally develop. So what I do is really active transformation for women. And if you want to be a part of that, you can definitely come over there to my channel.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that. You know, I need to do more of that behind the scenes because I have the text notification squad and I've been wanting to start up some group coaching because I'm a trained life coach as well as a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And I definitely want to do more of that. This is definitely inspiring because I love hearing that you have a book club, that you watch movies with people because there's some love and romance shows that I would love to watch with people behind the scenes because a lot of this stuff needs to be broken down so that people can see case by case what it is that we are actually dealing with out here. So thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Let's talk a little bit before we get into the rest of the video so that we can talk about what was it that took us so long to do a collaboration.
Oh, okay. So we were originally going to do a collaboration. I think this was back in February, and I was pretty
Yeah.
excited about it. And then when I posted it in the community post, there were some people that were not really feeling the collaboration. They weren't feeling the perspective they had on you and how you handle your interviews. They weren't feeling that because a lot of them are overprotective of their content creators. So after you saw that, you kind of backed out because you don't want to participate because of it. So it was dead from then on. You did mention that you would be open to a panel discussion as opposed to a one-on-one at that time. And to me, it
Let's
was.
not talk about the rest. Let's not talk about let's not talk about that part.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it,
Okay.
at that point it was what it was, but we're here now as a result of another catalyst, which
Catalyst,
turned out
yes.
to be good. It was a catalyst. It turned out to be a good thing anyway.
Listen. You know what? That was quite inappropriate of me. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's certain things that I just don't want to talk about publicly because
Right. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
yes.
trust me, I wasn't going there. I was not going to say that.
Okay. But yes, so one of the things that I learned from this situation, because two things. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm just really not in the mood for the drama. I'm not in the mood for overprotective fans lunging down and picking apart whatever it is that we decide to do, right? I would hope that we female content creators in the front, that we serve as an example for a few different things, that we serve as an example for when you're talking to a person and there's something that you have questions about, that you speak up and you ask the questions. Two, that just because somebody else has an opinion of somebody doesn't mean that that is the capital T truth. That could be their lowercase t truth. And also, we as women, especially Black women, we have got to stop the bullying of other Black women. We've got to stop the not wanting us to be together or come together or have discord or have beef and all of that other stuff, because it doesn't serve us. We are stronger together. We're stronger with it. So listen, you have an expertise in the research that you've done, molecular biology background, and the research that you've done on men and relationships. I have an expertise in self-love. And so I'm not going to know everything about everything, just like you won't know everything about everything. And I think it's important for people with different modalities to come together because there will be overlap, like the seven Hermetic principles, and some of I have an interest in neuroscience, neuropsychology, and I really, really want to dive into the brain and how the brain functions with some of these psychological principles and why we do some of what it is that we do because of the human brain. So,
Right.
somebody's saying we aren't that bad, Tanya. Sometimes people out there can be very vicious. What are some of your thoughts on women stopping the discord between one another and really coming together? Why is it that we have so much strife between us that keeps us weakened, in the face of a tremendous adversary?
Well, we have to understand that 99% of the planet is not operating out of a place of love.
Mm,
Everybody is operating off of their own experiences, their own perceptions on reality. And these are unconscious responses. They're unconscious response patterns. So it's not to really throw slight at anybody, because we're all operating in this level of unconsciousness. And when we say unconsciousness, people do not understand what that means.
mm,
Okay. In the physical body, you have the brain, and the brain is the computer, that's the hardware that's designed for you to operate in this physical realm. And the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system are your automatic nervous systems, or is your automatic nervous system that responds unconsciously to environmental stimuli. And this is the feminine counterpart. This is infinite intelligence. Subconscious mind is infinite intelligence. So whatever experiences, information that a person comes across, the infinite intelligent being, the system is going to respond without the organism being in conscious knowledge of it. So when people respond to certain stimuli, 99% of it is unconscious. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that they mean bad. They just came across an experience before, and this new experience is identical to the last one, and there is an automatic instant
mm,
response without
mm.
a critical thought that goes into a person's mind. So when I say operate in love, you have to operate and give people grace to understand that that's what's going on, and the people who you're giving grace to are not able to see
Yeah.
themselves or other people on that level, right?
Mm,
So until we teach people what love is, until we move people from a level of, hey, I'm responding, you've done this, you've done that, I got all of it, and I'm having these same experiences, or I'm going to respond based on how the outcome was, until we
mm.
get people to critically think and all of that stuff. Everybody is going to do that.
Mm.
Everybody, all walks of life, because that doesn't have anything to do
Yeah.
with race, creed, sex, or color, right? It's just how the human body works. So I want to give people grace and understanding, because when you seek understanding, you get a bigger perspective and you can see things more clearly, and you can respond in a more controlled
Mm-hmm.
and graceful way, right?
Yes,
That's
yes,
just how
yes,
it is.
yes, 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 yes. If you were to sum that up so that a fifth grader could understand it, because, how would you sum that up in a sentence so that a sentence or two so that a fifth grader could understand?
What you think is personal is not personal. And if you slow down, ask questions, and consider all of the information, you'll grow a new understanding and you can see things more clearly. Most of the things that you see are of yourself and not of other people, right?
Ooh,
So just slow
girl.
down.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, you know what? We are back on the broadcast and we're going to jump back into the topic. I'm glad that we took that segue. I'm glad that things aligned for us to be able to meet up and come into collaboration. Also, I think that it is, I think, you know what? I think it's important for people to
Mm-hmm.
slow down and listen and hear and consider, and just see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I take from the stories that you told earlier is that you continue to try. You continue to put yourself out there. You continue to date these XY chromosome persons and have, interactions with them. That thing that you said about the people on break, that what the guy said about his wife's niece, that just was
Mm-hmm.
like a gut punch to me because we know that this happens and these people are unapologetic and just grotesque with it. You know what? Anything that can help us overall. The question of the broadcast is lesbianism the way for Black women to save themselves. And you said that there are four options.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to date men, but date them with information. Be celibate with yourself. Date women. And the fourth one is what? I missed one.
Just play with toys,
Oh, and be
yeah.
on OnlyFans.
Yeah. It's giving
Now,
everybody a show. Well,
you
I
know,
got this one. This one is 9 inches and this one is 10 and a half. Which one should I use today? Silicone or rubber? You can do that, girl. Ain't nobody playing with you.
you know
Ain't
what's
nobody
really
gonna stop you.
crazy? I'm publishing a video tomorrow of a
Yeah.
girl who is so if you're not on my other channel on the clips channel, go over to youtube.com/ Tanya TKO clips. So you just search my name and scroll down far enough, or just search for Tanya TKO and the word clips. But
Hmm.
I have another channel and I'm publishing a video tomorrow with a girl who's talking about how men are jealous of women and
They are.
basically saying that men criticize you for being a hoe or easy or 304 or thati and all this other stuff, right? But then on the flip side, they say, oh, if I was a woman, that they would be much worse. But what would be the difference? The difference is that you're operating with female DNA and they're operating with male DNA. And in
Mhm.
their minds, they would be, how many of you out there, if you have heard men say, that they would be the biggest sluts out there, that they would be the biggest hoes, that if they were women, that they would be the biggest porn stars, prostitutes, all of that. If you have heard them say that, put up a one. If you've never heard them say that, put up a zero, because I want to see some of these answers, because I've heard it, and the thing about it is they are telling you. They're telling you that if they had the female body part, the female anatomy, they would take men for every dollar that they got. They would have no. This is part of the reason I've been doing a lot of videos about trans, etc. Because an XY chromosome person who says that they're trans is still operating from that mentality. This is why a lot of them are in that profession. I'm not going to get into it in this video because I don't want to bring the controversial heat on you, but let's take a look at these comments. So people have seen it. Most people have seen men saying this. The the men know. We all, one person has a zero, right?
Right.
Another person has a zero. They're saying they've never seen it. Okay.
They could be
Uh,
men though. Trying to, yeah, trying to
well,
count it, yeah.
you know what? And even I did a broadcast with gay men, and gay men don't even regard their anuses as anything private or special. They just give it up. They anywhere, anytime, and any size. They don't even care about it getting stretched or ripped or anything. They don't care.
Tanya.
Yes.
No, it's seriously. No, for real. Because back in 2016, when I was still dating men and still doped up on the idea of men that I was gonna find me a leader and provider, protect all that mess, I started to do some research on the LGBT community as far as men are concerned, right?
Yeah.
So you said that they don't regard their anus as nothing, right?
Right.
So what I did is I went and got a profile on one of them gay apps for them and created a fake profile, and I started talking to these men on the gay app. The first dude that sent me a message, dark skinned dude, You wouldn't even think that he was out here doing this. He sent me a message talking about, yeah, I'm just looking to hook up for some dick, right? And he sent me a picture of his anus. And when I tell you, it was like a cereal bowl. It was a cereal.
Shut the front door. Shut up.
I'm serious.
So you saying he walking and his food is just falling out?
Listen, it was a man. Listen, this dude is taking pipe that I can't even take as a woman. Listen, it's like men like pain. I need y'all to understand. Men like pain. They are addicted. It's women and men really do have an inverse relationship. But yes, it was a cuenco. Grande, mis latinas. Grande. The cuenco was grande. Okay.
You know what? This broadcast will never be monetized. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this.
Right.
It's the size of a cereal bowl, though, for real.
Yes, I'm serious. I am not lying to you. And then check this out. After I discovered all the stuff that I discovered about these dudes being on the DL, this was 2016, 2017. I go back, I'm doing videos on Facebook. I go to my audience, I say, look, y'all do not know what these men are doing. I'm gonna need y'all to go make y'all a profile in your city and see who on here and what's happening. So a woman in my audience decided that she was gonna do that. And baby, she found her son's youth pastor on there. And she caught him just before he was finna take them on a camping trip, an all boys camping trip. Boy, she went up to that church and raised hell and took her son out of, yeah, baby. Mm-hmm.
Now there's one thing that I don't play with, and I don't play with the harming of children. That's one thing. I don't give a damn who you are. I don't play with that. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? I am going to create a profile on one of these apps and just see. Oh my goodness. And you know what? What's really funny is I was watching this video yesterday of this girl who was arguing with this guy about why he don't want to be with her and take care of the baby. And he was like, look, I'm not finna have my cousin baby. And she was like, yeah, but you hid that from me until it was too late and this, that, and the other. And then she was like, well, why don't you just tell them how I saw you in the bed with a man, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was just thinking about the correlation between some of these misogynists and men loving men, So it's like, you know what? And I did a video the other day where I was like, listen, a man, nothing's going to get in between a man and his pleasure. He's going to go in, like, we think men are one thing that they're really not. They're going to be in those DMs. If they have a fantasy, they're going to fulfill it. And I said, listen, this is why ladies do not wait. Don't get old with your fantasies unfulfilled. Go and figure out what you like, and
that's it.
And there was one woman who was like, I'm not gonna support you telling women to be hoes, and the thing about it is the whole mentality is something that's created by misogyny and the patriarchy to keep women in control. But I'm not telling anybody to spread their body hither or thither. I'm just telling women to know what you like, enjoy yourself, have fun.
Tanya, that's my message. So by you saying that, they say that you're promoting whore culture. By me saying it, they're saying I'm promoting lesbianism, because the core of the message is freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Women can do whatever best suits them for their journey.
Yes.
And what I want women to do, because sexual energy is a creative energy that belongs to the feminine counterpart. And women can express their sexuality any way they choose to. Yeah. So I want women to have sexual freedom. Sexual freedom does not mean recklessness. It means obtaining and controlling the power and freely using that creative energy any way you choose to further your goals in life, because that power belongs to you.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes. You know, one thing that I wanted to ask you, and I was thinking about this when we were, nonetheless, the topic is how female liberation, sexual liberation, is often the disguise for for attention for the male gaze, that
yes,
it's just the flip side of misogyny. I was looking at some videos by some Sukiana and some young lady have a video that just dropped, and she was, I don't know how many of you have seen it, she was humping her ass in a white man's face at behind a desk, and she was talking about her deep throat and her vagina and her pussy and stealing other people's man and all this other stuff. And I had to ask myself the question. I'm like, is this female empowerment? Is this, or is this attention for the male gaze? I'm curious about your point of view on that, because yes, we want women to be liberated and sexually free, but how do we know that that is true freedom, or whether or not it's the slavery, the prison of male perception?
okay, all right. So, first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
before we can say what's slavery and what's freedom, we need to be able to determine what's freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think, see, you can't be free without the ability to think and rationalize.
Mm.
And freedom does not mean do what you want to do recklessly. Freedom means the ability to self govern. So sexual freedom is about the ability for women to govern
Okay.
their own sexual energy and not for men to govern it.
Right.
What women are displaying is another form of sexual slavery disguised as sexual freedom.
Oh, you
Now,
about to pull out a book? Hold on, let me write down the
yes.
title, girl, because I definitely want to learn more about that. Oh, the
So,
48 laws of girl, let me go grab mine too. Go ahead, talk. I'm
yes.
listening. Hold on, I gotta grab mine. Hold on. Oh, darn it. It is time for us to take a break. Girl, I got my book right here too, but it is break time. These breaks are coming fast. The conversation is so good. All right, so listen. Oh my goodness, that means that we've been on here for 2.5 hours. So listen, what I'm going to do is we're going to take a quick movement break. I want you all to move because sitting is death. We've been on this broadcast for 2.5 hours, and I want you all to not just do this on my broadcast, but while you're watching, while you're binge watching these shows, make sure that at the end of every show, or that you set yourself a timer, that you're not just sitting there, sitting, eating, letting your blood coagulate in your legs. Far too many of us. And you know what, Princella, I want to talk about fitness, health, and having governance of your own body, a body
Mhm.
autonomy, as well as just being in your best self. I want to talk about that with you as well. So we're going to take this quick break. We're going to come back, and we still need to come back to the thing that we were going to talk about with the yin and yang with the small black dot.
Mhm.
We're going to stay on the broadcast for half an hour more. So we have to get everything talked about, because this is already a 3-hour broadcast. Oh, well, in half an hour, it'll be a 3-hour broadcast, but then we're going to have to collaborate again. Are you down with
Mhm.
another collaboration?
Absolutely.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. If you all are enjoying this, make sure that you thumbs up the broadcast. Princella's links are in the description. Go over to her channel, subscribe to her channel. My links are in the description, depending on which platform you're watching this on, because it was able to simultaneously broadcast on your platform too, correct?
Yes.
All right. What are the numbers looking like on your broadcast for the?
One 1.6 thousand.
Oh wow, it's 1.5 on mine. Okay, so good, 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 good. So we are impacting a tremendous amount of people. All right, so listen,
Yeah.
we are going to. I want you all to get up. I want you to stretch, do some squats, and when we come back, I want you to tell people in the comments what it is that you did. You can send $1 through in the Cash App and tell me what it is that you did, and I'll read it aloud on air. If you want to send something through for Princella and you can send it through in the Cash App. There's going to be some links that are going to come up on the screen, and I'll make sure that she gets it right after the broadcast. And other than that, so squats, running in place, jumping jacks, any other ideas? Dance. Give an idea for people to do that they can do during the break. Give an idea.
If you got any musical instruments, you can go play some musical instruments, or you can do my favorite, go make yourself a nice cocktail and go out and look at the sun while it's still out.
Oh, you know what? That's important too. Getting your vitamin D, absolutely. So just make sure that you get up and move. We will be back in 3 and 3.
Hey, Mama.
Like 30 more seconds. Ooh, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Oh my goodness. Listen. I put on a band on my legs, and all you gotta do, listen, don't look at me like that. All you gotta do, a little movement goes a long way. You can put these, listen, you don't have to look at me like that. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
Okay.
You know what? When I got on my jeans and my butt is popping, nobody gonna be able to say nothing to me. So that's what I did. I wanna know what you all did during the break. All it takes is a little band, put it around your legs, and anything that you do, side steps, squats, hip thrusts, no matter what it is that you do. Whew. So that's what I was doing. I want to see what some of you all were doing during the break. We're going to check the apples, and then I'm going to, listen. Oh, I put it on for the thing to play. Okay. All right. Oh, all right. Let me check some of these apples here. Okay. So Drip says, too many breaks, girl. Let's go with the show. We're taking a break almost every half an hour. How is that too many? Get up and move. It's not too many breaks. Get up and move. It's for your health and your life. If you're not going to invest in yourself and love yourself enough to be like, you know what, I've been sitting for half an hour. If moving 2 times in an hour is too much for you, then that makes me wonder what's going on when you're not on this broadcast. Moving 2 times in an hour is not too much. But I appreciate your point of view. Thank you. Ursula sends $10 and says, I'm so glad to see this collab. Thank you, Ursula. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, that's pretty loud. Let me turn that down. I appreciate that. Claire sends $45 and says, wait, is that a cereal bowl? I
Yeah,
cannot.
it's grande, it's big in every language. She say it's grande in French. She says grande in Spanish. And what else? What other language is that?
I see
No,
French.
yeah, it's
I
in
see
English,
Spanish.
Spanish, and French. Yeah, English, Spanish, and French is big bowl. Yeah, it's big.
You know what? I'm gonna get on one of these apps. I'm gonna get on one of them. Miss Lady sends $2 and says, I did vacuuming. Please revisit the 7 Hermetic principles. Absolutely, 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 absolutely. Aaliyah sends $2 and says, autocorrect did me wrong. I know, that's what I'm saying, but I still read it right? And Cherise says, great show for TKO. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me refresh and make sure that I have everyone. Oh, look, and here, $5 for Queen Maker in my name, Cherie Lachelle. Love y'all. Hey, so here, so I'm gonna put this right here so I know that goes to you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we got all of them. So Princella, we have about half an hour left now at this point. So let us go ahead and we're getting back into the 7 Hermetic principles where we were talking about how everything has a gender. And
Okay, well, let's go back before we get there because we was talking about the sexual freedom thing, right?
Yes.
And
Okay.
I want to make sure I finish that point because freedom is the ability to self-govern, right?
Yes.
And what I'm saying is that women because sexual energy is a creative energy that belongs to the feminine, that women operate in their optimal self when they are sexually free, when they have the ability to govern their own sexual energy, right? Because that is a flowing energy. Men should not have power over sexual energy because that belongs to the women. But what they are promoting out there is the illusion of freedom, which is a form of slavery. Okay. And the reason is because a woman who is owning her sexual power does not expel it through actually having sex. She doesn't, right?
Right.
And when you're dealing with men in seminal fluid, okay, because let me tell you, you mentioned it in the womb, seminal fluid stays in the body, not just the womb, because that's an environment that's manipulated. So, but we'll talk about that another time. But anyway, women limit their sexual behavior with men when they're governing themselves. So I pulled out the 48 laws of power because law number 31 says control the options, get others to play the cards you deal. In a system of patriarchy, they give you bilateral answers, right? They give you bi choices. They give you two choices. They give you black and white choices, two-dimensional. So it's either this or that. That's how you end up with the Democratic and the Republican Party, this or that, black or white, right?
Yeah.
So in this system, It's either slavery or freedom.
Yeah.
People have been given the illusion of freedom and not true freedom. Okay. So control the options, get others to play the cards that you deal. The best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel they are in control. Your victims feel like they in control.
Yes.
But are actually your puppets. Give people options that come out in your favor, whichever one they choose.
Yes.
Force them to make choices between the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils. What I do for women is I give them 4 choices, a freedom of true choice. But the system gives people 2 choices. Either you heterosexual or you're gay. Either you're Republican or you're Democrat. Either you're black or you're white. Okay. Either you're good or you're bad. It is a 2-dimensional linear thinking process that allows the elites or the people who are controlling you to manipulate you. So now it's either freedom or slavery, but the average person does not know freedom, so they still choose a form of slavery under the guise of freedom.
Yes, girl. Yes. 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 Yes.
And so that's what we're experiencing with people like Sukiana, Cardi B, and all of these people, because that is not sexual freedom. What I do is sexual freedom. This is sexual freedom, because guess what? You cannot shame me on choosing to date women, because I have the freedom to decide how I express my sexual energy, because as a dark feminine Lilith walking the planet, I have that right. And I don't have to give that energy to no male. I don't have to give it to nobody. I can use that to create. And it's that creative energy that make the queen maker who the hell she is, because I have that sexual power. And what I'm trying to give women is the ability to own that sexual power without guilt, without shame, because this system is built on making you shame and fearful so that they can make their money off you and control your behavior.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? So let's get into the nuance of it. How do we know that this behavior from the Sukis and the Cardis and the Glorillas and the Sexy Reds, and how do we know that that is not freedom, that it's slavery? How do we know? Because it looks to some people like freedom.
Because of the outcomes. First the nature, then the outcomes, right? So it's not freedom to recklessly put yourself in dangerous positions. It's not freedom to put yourself in a position where you end up being brutalized, where you end up with diseases, where you end up. This is not freedom, but this is what that attracts. This is what that pulls towards you. And then the freedom to be reckless, to influence the younger audience to go out there and be reckless, thinking they have power that they do not have, right? Because you're doing this for men who are riled up with the desire for sex, and a lot of these dudes are not even getting sex, so you really don't even understand what it is that you're doing. That is not freedom when you're operating in ignorance. In order to truly be free, one has to be disciplined. One has to be knowledgeable. One has to have wisdom and understanding. The people who are doing this have no wisdom. They have no understanding. They have no knowledge, but they do have the illusion of freedom, where they believe that they can just be reckless with no consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me come on the tail end of that and say, I did a video on the Sukiana stuff when she was, grabbed by that man who had kissed her and all that other stuff, right? And I played some footage from her video, and there were a bunch of women with strollers and baby carriages with
Mm-hmm.
no fathers for these children around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're engaging in this behavior, like you said, that can be very dangerous, very volatile, put you at risk for these STDs. You know who's the fastest growing population of herpes, HIV, and HPV, right? As well as chlamydia and syphilis. We know who's the fastest growing population. And unfortunately, because of the duality, or the two choice system that we have,
Mm-hmm.
that it looks like freedom, but who's making the money?
Right.
Who's
Them.
making exactly? Who's getting the 360 royalties, and who's really making the profit
Mm-hmm.
from it? And I remember I covered this video when Erica Badu was going viral for standing there with her daughter Puma, and all you saw was just their nice curvy derrieres, right? And people were in a huff about it. And in the video, what I did was I photoshopped Snoop Dogg in the middle of these two young ladies, or the two women, Erica and her daughter. And I was like, now which one of these images looks more, more normalized or more satisfactory? And it's become so normalized to see a man like Snoop Dogg, or what was this guy's name who was participating in that Freaknik documentary, that Doodoo Brown dude? You know who I'm talking
Oh, I didn't
about.
even see. Oh, I didn't even see it.
No, the guy who used to sing Doodoo Brown. I don't think the documentary came out yet.
Oh,
But
okay.
what's his name? Luke, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we've become so used to these images of men being in control of women's sex and sexuality, that to
Mm-hmm.
see two women standing there without a man in purview was
Mm-hmm.
offensive to some people. They were like, how dare you be there standing? But if a man was standing right between them with his face between the butt cheeks, talking about, I love big butts, and
Exactly.
like,
Right.
no one would have any issue with it. But the women deciding to take a picture without men present
Yes,
angered
and women
people.
have a problem with that because they've been conditioned and normalized
Mm-hmm.
into believing that men are to control women's sexuality.
Yeah,
Women, the sexual energy belongs to the feminine. That
yes,
is her energy because that is the creative energy. And
yes,
so women have been subjugated and men have taken their power and used their power against them. And
yes,
women could harness that power and take back what's rightfully their
yes,
own, but they do not know how to use it. They do not know how to harness it, right?
yes,
And so women have to be deprogrammed and
yes,
they have to be retaught how to be women because women do not know how to be women. They are recklessly giving up all their power to
yes.
men and allowing men to destroy them with it,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I wanted to show people this right here because I think it's. Oh, hold on. I wanted to show people this right here. So on your screen, right, you will see a book. This is from Audible. You can listen to it on Audible. This is Kybalion, right? This is the seven Hermetic principles. If you want to get an audiobook so that you can listen to the seven principles, because when you listen to this, you will see the basis of all religion. You will see the basis of all philosophical thought. You will see the basis of spirituality, because they go into the seven principles of crystal energy. And because we're going to get back into the gender, because that is in here too. Because in the Kybalion, where it talks about the Hermetic principle for gender, it talks about how we got it wrong on the batteries, because feminine energy has a particular form of creation to it.
Yes.
And so yes, this is it right here. So just take a screenshot of that and then just look that up. I'll put this, let me turn off this thing so you all can see. You see that? And
Hmm.
you see so there. Take a
Yes.
look and a listen to that. You have a different one?
Or it's the same one, but this is the
Okay.
three initiates in the book form,
In the book
right?
form. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So there you have two options: the Audible or the book. Or you can get both of them. I like to get the book and the audio book sometimes just to read and listen at the same time. They say that your retention goes up by 33% when you do that.
Mhm.
So because we're running low in time now, so we have to jump back on track.
Yes,
There were a few things. Okay, we were talking about the freedom to self-govern. We were talking about the yin, the yang. Let's
yes.
jump into that. So we were talking about
Okay.
the black with the white and the white with the
Uh-huh.
little black. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so women are the feminine counterpart in the physical plane. Remember, you have physical, mental, and spiritual. Okay, so the first plane is the physical plane, and the woman is the feminine vessel, which means that she is in the creative vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you go to the mind space, moving from the body to the mind, okay, well, let me go back so I can make you remember that men and women on the physical plane come together to create a baby through
Mm-hmm.
sex.
Mm-hmm.
That's the masculine and feminine joining on the physical plane. That is the only purpose for the masculine and feminine counterpart on the physical plane, the procreation through sex, because to bring masculine and feminine together creates life.
Mm-hmm.
No life can exist without both masculine and feminine together.
Hmm.
So that means as a living, breathing organism with inside of you, you have both masculine and feminine
Okay.
counterparts
Okay.
operating in you because you are a living organism. Okay. Now let's move from the body to the mind.
Mm-hmm.
The left side of the brain is the analytical side,
Mm-hmm.
the logical side. Okay, this is still in the physical. I'm sorry, this is still in the physical because we're talking about the brain. Left side is the logical side, right side is the feminine side. It's the creative side, right? It's the imaginative side of the brain, okay? And the left side is your analytical side, okay? When you bring them two together, you take action or conscious thought, because your conscious mind, your critical mind, the mind that asks questions, who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's your conscious mind. That's your masculine mind. Your feminine mind is the creative, artistic side of the mind. So when you marry willpower, work ethic, critical thought, who, what, when, where, and why, you marry that to creativity, you manifest into the physical reality what it is that you want. So if you want to write a book, you will ask yourself, okay, how do I produce a book? Who, what, when, where, why? What am I talking about? What is this going to be about? How much is this going to cost? This is how much time it's going to take, blah, blah, blah. What's the subject? Blah, blah, blah. That's your critical mind going to
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
And your creative mind is all of the characters and the storyline and all of that. When you marry these two, then you make a new baby. You
Yes.
make a mind child. You have a mind child. It's about procreation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what the deal is that in the yin and yang, the black area in the yin and yang is the feminine side of the brain, which is the feminine side, which is the creative. Since women are in the feminine side, the creative body, they have more of a capability to create and reproduce and manifest than men, because the yin only needs a small amount of masculine energy to manifest something. That's why it has that small white circle in it. That small white circle is the masculine energy. Women have masculine energy just by existing and living on the planet. But because they're in the feminine vessel, they're automatically the creative vessel, which means that women don't have to do as much work as men to create something. When you look at the white side that has the small black hole in there, the small black circle, men have a very small access to the creative. The only way that they can create in large quantities is through access of a woman. That's what that yin and yang is showing. The masculine has too much work ethic. It depends too much. So this is the reason why the males operate mainly from the left side of the brain, and they have a shutdown, or they communicate only from this side mainly. Their right side is practically shut down. This is why males operate like robots. This is why you say a man is supposed to do. He's supposed to do, because he is in the masculine vessel, which makes life harder if he does not have access to a woman. Women are God on earth.
Yes.
Especially if she's a black woman, because black represents the feminine. Woman represents the feminine. So black women are from the feminine race, the feminine vessel. She's double feminine, which makes her ultra creative. This is why black people are on the bottom of a socioeconomic pyramid, because necessity is the mother of invention. You hear that? It didn't say necessity was the father of invention. It says necessity is the mother of invention. Why is this important? Because the subconscious mind is the feminine mind.
Yes.
It is the creative mind. So who is the collective unconscious? Women are planet Earth's collective unconscious. So you program women with the philosophies, and then you reproduce through the woman. This is the reason why you can't teach men anything, because men are not the subconscious. Women are. And so until women change their mind and know who the hell they are, they will continue to wreak havoc on the planet by bowing down to the masculine. You are out of order.
Yes.
Women are the power source on this planet, and women have to change the fucked up program that was implemented in them by the elites. You have been programmed to worship men, and it's you who are the power source.
Absolutely.
Erase the program.
Thank you. That is beautifully stated, And unfortunately, we are walking around asleep. We have been programmed and conditioned into believing the opposite of what is true. We've been programmed to believe that God is a white man. We've been programmed to believe that men are natural leaders, that men are protectors, providers, that men are what else? That men are independent, that men are strong, that men are a lot of different things, that men are not emotional, that men are, we've been programmed to believe that they're logical. We've been programmed to believe a lot of different things. And we've been programmed,
all lies.
Yeah, we've been programmed to separate ourselves from our intuition. And as a result, there's so many of us who are walking around sick and diseased. And, I thought about this years ago. I came to this realization when I was in my 20s, and I was looking around at all of my friends who were becoming pregnant and all of the issues that they were facing, right? And I realized, because I started, this was around the time that I came online, and I was listening to the people who were talking about all, this whole when the manosphere was young, and they had the big names out there that were talking all this mess, and they were like talking about how women are choosing all these bad men and they shouldn't be here and this, that, and the other. And I thought to myself, I was like, look at all of these situations in which women, disempowered and disconnected from her true essence, are making these decisions out here. And these decisions are leading to children. If it were not for the optimism, the hope, the naivete, the ignorance of women, most of the children here on earth would not be here, because most of my friends were having hope that these men were going to act right, that these men were going to step up, that these men were going to do X, Y, Z. And it was that hope that made them go through with the pregnancy. It was that hope that
Exactly.
made them carry for 9 months. It was that hope, that optimism based on no evidence.
Absolutely. And so you just hit on the reason why men have a major problem with me putting out into the atmosphere that men are incapable of love.
All
Men
right.
cannot love. And that's the reason what you just said, because if women stop believing
Yeah.
that men have a capability of love, women would close up shop. There
Yes,
would literally be
absolutely.
no reason to deal with men at that point. And so every time I say it, I could say it in passing. Men get antsy and they get irritated, they get mad. It don't matter. We are capable of love. She telling y'all wrong. You know why? Because tell the truth and shame the devil. The male knows he's incapable of love, and he been selling women love wolf tickets for years, dangling it in front of her face and making women work for this scarce idea that, well, a man's love is special. The
Mm,
reason that you ain't get no love from him because you just wasn't the one.
right.
See, that's the game.
Yeah.
And it makes women push their fucking boundaries and sacrifice themselves playing a gambling game. And then she the one left holding the bag at the end.
Yeah.
But if she knew unequivocally that men were not capable of love, that game wouldn't work, and women would not be giving up their value for hope no damn more. Thinking
Yeah.
that I'm special, I need your validation, because if a man loves me, that means I'm better than all the other women. People always talking about you were using. I don't care about those other girls. Just be good to me. I don't care what you do to them. Just be good to me. Women have been tricked into competing with other women for male validation. So if he don't do this to me, that means I'm better than you as a woman. Women been fucked up through this thing called love.
Mm, yeah. Thank you. And right on time, because we are at the end of the broadcast. I had other questions for you. I need you to answer them in 60 seconds or less, okay?
Okay.
There were some people who were saying that we just need to date men of other races because other races of men are better. Address that.
Men are men all over the globe. They selling, men are fucking kids in Afghanistan because they don't have no resources, so they're selling their daughters. These are Muslim men. You have Muslim women telling y'all to stop dating Muslim men because Muslim men will come over here and use you for everything that you got, and then when he's ready to get married, he drop you and go marry somebody from his own culture. You have men raping women all over the globe. In Africa right now, they're upset because they said, the president said in South Africa, if y'all rape and disrespect women, you're going to jail. All of the African men are mad because they're putting limits on their behavior. A male is a male. It don't matter. They got the 4B movement right over there in South Korea because them South Koreans are tired of them. So a man is a damn man, period.
Okay, okay. And next question. All men, majority of men, some men, who are you referring to?
The majority of men, the overwhelming majority, standard deviation population curve. No matter what population you're talking about, there's a normal distribution. 68.2% of any population will fall within the median, and 95% of all populations fall within two standard deviations of the mean. So 85% of any population is average and below, right? And very few are above average, but these super intelligent, men who have these emotional capabilities and everything, baby, you're looking at three standard deviations from the mean. You're looking for an anomaly.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Listen, I'm going to give you an opportunity to let the people know how and where to find you. Go for it.
All right, you can find me at the Queen Maker. You can just type that in on YouTube and you'll pop right up over there at the High Power Podcast. You can go get my book, 41 Shades of Men, at my website, PrincellaTheQueenMaker.com. And you can hit me up on TikTok, the Queen Maker, the Queen Maker Official, and IG, the Queen Maker Official. Come follow me.
All right. Make sure that you follow Princella and give her your listen. It's been amazing. Oh, you know what? I need to check the apples before we leave to see what people were saying before we jump out of here. We definitely have to collaborate again. I am Tanya TKO. I'm a self-love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. This is my book right here. It's a self-love affirmations journal, and it is, oh wow, you know what? It sold out on Amazon. So I'm going to get some more in stock, but this is a journal that you use right before you go to bed, and it has beautiful pictures in there and the actual affirmations that you need to say and write right before you go to sleep. And as you're sleeping, these ideas become manifest. And when it comes to affirmations, that's how, when you plant that seed and when you go into that creative space, when when your spirit leaves out from your body and your body is toiling over these ideas as you're resting. And it just, because this book it works like magic. It changes everything. And for those of you who have gotten my book, you know for sure. So this is the Book of Affirmation Self-Love. It's going to be back in stock on Amazon. So go to Amazon and add it to your favorites now. Just search for Tanya TKO on Amazon and you will see the book come up. Add it to your favorites so that when it comes back into stock, that you all will be able to get your copy. Once you say that, and listen, change comes swift and so quick that you wouldn't know that you ever felt a different way before you had gotten the book. So Princella, let's so how was this collaboration for you, my dear?
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it was great to bring you out. Let me check these last apples. Then I'm going to check the PayPal, and then after that, we're going to say our goodbyes. So I appreciate everybody for coming out. Let's see what we. Oh, I put on the music again. Oh well, let me just. Hey, it's low, the music.
Yeah.
Go ahead and thumbs up, thumbs up. Make sure you follow Princella. Her link is in the description. My link is in the description as well. So Denise sends $20 that says, awesome show for you and the queen. Love you, ladies. She says guys, but I really want us to get out of the habit of using the word guy to refer to women and general population. I like when we say ladies or gals or whatnot, but I definitely think that we need to differentiate, because if you're in a room full of men, I tried this when I was in Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico, they have the gender-based words. And when I was in Puerto Rico and I started referring to groups of men and women as nosotras, the men started getting angry to be referred to as a group by the feminine. And so I think that we women definitely have to start putting our foot down and carving a line for us to not be referred to as guys. So I want us to just pay attention to our language. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. That's how I was able to write the Book of Affirmation. So our words are important. So I appreciate the love in which this was sent. Do not take my analyzation as criticism. Let me put this here so that I know that we're sharing that. And Kelly sends $2 and says, I have the nurses coming in here to dance with me. So see, she's enjoying the break. So I'm happy to hear that. Because there was one person who was like, we're taking too many breaks. But did we take too many breaks if we're doing 2 breaks in an hour just for movement. I know we get so used to not moving. That's why it's even more important to continue to move. I'm going to go over to the PayPal and make sure that I check that before we jump out of here, because some people have sent via PayPal. So I want to stay on top of that, because Cash App is the main platform. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So here, so we did get some. Blondell says, that kind of content love. She sends $2. And Latasha says, it's late in Luxembourg, so I went to the pantry downstairs and back. Okay, listen. Hopefully when you went to the pantry, you weren't eating late. Hopefully you weren't doing that. But thank you. I appreciate you letting me know that there was some sort of movement going. Some people like the dance breaks. Some people
Mm-hmm.
don't. What are your thoughts of the dance breaks, Princella? Let me hear.
Oh, I like them to get up and move around. I think a lot of people are used to watching me, and I don't take breaks, and I we look up, like we're so focused on the deal that we look up, and we done been talking for 4 hours. Sometimes I mean I done went
Oh,
7 hours with no breaks, so they used to that. That's why.
oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, you know what? I implore you to find some time to move around. You know, there's so many Black women who getting these pulmonary embolisms and all of these
Mm-hmm.
things because the blood is just not moving. If we get a
Mm-hmm.
chance, make sure that you lay on your back and do legs up a wall. Put your legs
Mm-hmm.
up the wall and let your legs hang out there. Stand on one leg, jump rope, jump on a trampoline. We've got to keep these, like I hear a lot of women talking about they have strong menstrual cramps. The trampoline is the only exercise that exercises every organ in your body. Get yourself a little rebounder and jump on that. Jumping is
Mm-hmm.
integral for keeping our cartilage, our bones, our musculature, all of that, for keeping it very healthy, as well as taking care of the organs. The motion of jumping is very important for us. So do the internal work. Love yourself enough to know that, number one, exercise is it compiled. So whether you do 5 minutes now, 5 minutes later, that's still 10 minutes of exercise. So get your exercise in. You raised your hand, Ma. What's up?
Yes, I wanted to make sure I addressed this comment that came across. This guy says men create structure for and discipline for families. So without men, you don't have no structure. um, the same men who don't have structure and discipline for themselves,
Mm,
who can't even control what's in their pants, are
yeah.
telling you about controlling and structuring a family. You don't have a right, sir. The hero's journey is for men to be in the wild, to lead and structure themselves, and once they have proven themselves capable, then they are rewarded with family. Y'all been rewarded with stuff that you ain't got no business having. You
Mm,
shouldn't have no family, you shouldn't have no woman, you shouldn't have no kids, you shouldn't have nothing but yourself to reflect on and figure out why you are subpar. So when you get yourself together, then you talk to me about some structure and discipline.
yes, yes. You know what? I'm so glad that you came on. I'm glad that we had a chance to talk, because you have put together some pieces for me that I've thought but really didn't have the appendix on it. And so one of the things that I've constantly wondered is, how is it that men are saying that they're leaders and they can't govern themselves? They can't. You see, from the pauper to the president. Even Bill Clinton had his zipper down in the damn White House. It's like, walk in front of them shimmying with a little jiggle here and there, and they lose control. The average man cannot say no to intercourse, no matter who is offering it and when. They did a
Exactly.
study, evolutionary psychologists did a study where they went onto college campuses and they asked the men. They had a relatively average looking young lady approach men and ask the men whether or not they would want to go have intercourse right then and there in a room. And the vast majority of men said yes. So
Mm-hmm.
they also did that with a very attractive young lady, but it was almost, even for the average looking woman, it was already almost 100%. And then they
Right.
did that with women, and an average looking man. The vast majority of women were like, no, they were not interested in casual intercourse with some man that they just met seconds before. And then they
Right.
had like a very attractive male, and a very small portion of the women said that they would be open to see where things go if they went, you know, someplace private. But that's the way it is. The vast majority of men cannot control their libido. They cannot control their loins, yet they're constantly talking about how they're leaders. There's a book
Right.
called the Athena Doctrine. I'll put it up in right here, the Audible book for you all to take a look at. There's a book called the Athena Doctrine, and it is important in that, here, let me pause this. This is the book right here, the Athena Doctrine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in the Athena Doctrine, it talks about how women-led companies do the best. They have the highest morale. They have the best financial. So men companies will do well. Men run companies will do well at stabbing people in the back, at might makes right. But then what happens is there's a cost-benefit analysis that takes place where even though they start doing that, people's health in male-run companies begins to deteriorate because it's cutthroat. It's competitive. It is all of those different things. But female-led companies have the, like, male-run companies, highest turnover. Female-run companies, and of course, you know, there's going to be outliers, but the female-run companies have the highest morale, the highest work, the highest positivity at work, the best cultures at work, the best profits in terms of overall, not just the cutthroat profits that don't last, but the lasting profits. So women-run companies will grow slower because they're not as cutthroat. But take a listen to this book. It is profound. It will change your idea about whether or not men are these natural born leaders, because the data shows that women are the best leaders. They are. And people talk about how men naturally provide and protect. But if you think about the provisions that even a woman's body creates to feed her offspring, if you think about, let me just say this, and then we're going to jump out of here. In the trans movement, the way that, first of all, because might makes right, and because it's violence, X chromosome trans people who are saying that they're men, we showed the documentary. How many XX chromosome people identifying as men are asking to be transferred over to the male prison versus how many XY chromosome persons are asking to be transferred over to the female prison? There are thousands of them. How many XX? I'm going to ask you, how many XX are asking to be transferred to the male prison, Princella?
Shit, I'm gonna say 0 or maybe 1, but it's just none. Really.
It's 0. Oh goodness, that reminds me of that guy from your Grinder app.
Yeah.
It's 0. There are no XX chromosome persons asking to be transferred to the male prison. And because if you think about the nature of women is to protect. And this is why women are jumping onto this trans movement, because there are XY chromosome persons who are exploiting women's natural need to protect. And so they're coming in with their sob story. Meanwhile, once they take over, they still have been raised and they're still governed by the hormones in the brain of an XY chromosome person.
Exactly.
And the moment that they push you off your square, because I've heard them, listen, if you don't know this phenomenon, look it up. Punch a turf today. I'm going to do a video on it. Don't worry, because these XY chromosome trans persons are coming up with a movement called Punch a Turf today. And they're hitting women because now they identify as women, but they still got that effing male brain. And now they're boxing you down. And I'm going to read some stories from you because it's trending now on the internet. So I'm going to read some stories. Why you look like that, Princella?
Because you just brought me back to a memory about one of the reasons why, like, I don't really go to clubs. So I went to a club, I was 18 when I just turned 18, or I turned 21. I can't remember, but I went to the club with my friend on one of them birthdays, and it was this person walking in the club, and I knew it was a male dressed as a female. I knew. And I knew when the person intentionally hit me, like they were walking in the club and they was intentionally bumping up against women to start fights. And so that person bumped into me aggressively, and I looked at it and I say, oh, that's a man. This motherfucker trying to start a fight. I'm not. And he kept doing that to women until a fight actually broke out.
So
Okay.
that he could break her jaw.
Yeah. These dudes, this is why it's important for women to understand the nature of a man. A man can never be a woman. I don't care what they talking about. The male's nature cannot be eradicated. It doesn't matter. His brain wiring cannot be eradicated. He's still a male.
Wow. Listen. You know what? Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. Thank you for sharing that. We definitely have to set up another collaboration, and we're going to do some brainstorming behind the scenes and figure out more ways that we can come together and serve you all with information, knowledge, self-love, empowerment, the understanding about the universe, the 7 Hermetic principles, dark feminine energy, all of that, the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. You know what? You know what? I can't wait till we talk behind the scenes, because I really, really, really need to serve people more with the strengths that I have, like ways that women can deprogram themselves, because I know how to rewrite subconscious programming. I know how to help people rewrite. And so we definitely need to continue the conversation. And so listen, thank you all so much for coming out. Make sure that you subscribe to Princella. Make sure that you get her book. Make sure that you go to Amazon, put my book in your cart, on your wish list, and join the movement. All right. Thank you all so much for coming out. Princella, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And I am at Tanya TKO. Princella is the queen, at the Queen Maker. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you. Subscribe, hit the like button. Make sure that you follow me, follow Princella. And if there's any last apples, I'll make sure I get, there's 2 last apples. Let me get these real quick. Charlotte says, what a great show. Yay, Princella. She sends $10. Thank you. Trishanda sends 6 and says, love you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I will see you all in the next broadcast. What is your self-love lesson from today's broadcast? Type SLL. That's what we do before the end of every broadcast. So Princella, why don't we ask you real quick? Let me turn down the music really quickly. What is your self-love lesson from today's broadcast? What have you learned about a new way to expound on your own internal self-love? Let's hear that. And then for the people in the audience, type SLL and let's get your self-love lesson. Let's hear.
To submit to what's easy to do for you. When you're in alignment, you'll know it, and you continue to live your authentic self no matter what anybody says about you. Because once you are solid in who you are, the attacks, whatever people want to do to you, you will realize that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's all them. And that makes you stronger in your convictions, and it makes you more powerful. And that's what we need to be, is powerful in love, harmony, and authenticity.
Okay, wonderful. The only thing that I ask is that we state these self-love lessons from the I. So what is it that you personally learned about expounding on your own internal self-love? So from the I standpoint.
I am exactly who I was meant to be, and there's nothing wrong with me.
Hey, I love that. And my self-love lesson from today's broadcast is about standing in my power and conviction and listening to the internal calling of the universe and listening the first time. This collaboration is definitely something that is long overdue, and I could have listened to the internal calling months ago, and I, out of apprehension and past collaborations that just went awry, however, I need to stay vigilant. I need to stay vigilant and continue that even if I've been hurt in the past, that I have to continue to open up, and I have to continue to trust and let love in, because when you close yourself to pain, you also close yourself to pleasure. And if we want to let love in, we have to stay open, because we can try to keep the bad out, or I could try to keep the bad experiences out, but that also cuts off the good experiences. And that's my self-love lesson. And so I want you all to reflect and take a few moments to think about what your self-love lesson is. What did you hear during this broadcast? What did you experience? What new form of thought did you gain from this? Let me see. I want to put the comments up on the screen so that Princella can also see them too. So type SLL and get your self-love lesson on the screen. Let me see. SLL, unapologetically, I am who I am. SLL, put me first always. So you're talking about yourself. I am open to be vulnerable with other women. Continue to self-invest. Perfect. SLL, so that I know which ones to read. So type SLL so I know which comments are going by for me to read. SLL, I am divine feminine. Yes. Someone is talking about my black dress. Love yourself enough to not be a slave to other people's fashions and perceptions. Let's see. SLL, preserve, protect precious energy. Share. I am. There are more than two options. Follow my intuition. I am me. Love. I am enough. Yes, this gives me so much. I will take care of my body. Let's change that to the present. I take care of my body. I must know and accept all of me. Yes. Y'all are my new BFFs. Wonderful. Yes. SLL, I am me. That is my power. I am where I need to be. I am divine feminine. Oh, this is beautiful. Princella, look at all the self-love lessons. This just makes me feel so full with love that after this broadcast that women were able to walk away with so many self-love lessons for themselves. I really love that. So Princella, thank you so much. Thank you for letting love in and letting us have this collaboration and answering these tough questions. You know, there were more that I had but the conversation was so good. We're going to do another collaboration, so stay tuned for that. Join the text notification squad so that you get a text whenever I go live, and join Princella's behind the scene group so that you all can get schooled in some of these book breakdowns. So thank you all so much for coming out. I will see you all in the next broadcast. Thank you all. Thank you. Have a good one, Princella. We'll talk behind the scenes for the debrief. So thank you all so much for coming out. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Whew.